Pirate's Most Powerful Villain, Chapter 201-220. Chapter 0201 by You Don't Talk. You, half-footed in the coffin, are also qualified to join forces with our dream talk. Go and have your dream. Tilda. Qin Yang was dismissive. He is not interested in ancient weapons. Sea King Poseidon is Princess Shirahoshi of Fishman Island. He can control sea kings. Those supergiant sea kings with a body size of 4,000 to 5,000 meters will obey Shirahoshi, but this kind of thing is also a sea dragon. Can do. So, what does he want Aquaman to do? When the ornamental fish are raised. Hearing this, Golden Lion did not get angry, but said puzzledly, you are not interested in the world. Together, we can completely dominate the world. At that time, power, wealth, status, everything you want can be easily obtained. We Dream is not interested in subverting the world, you don't have to waste your words. Qin Yang shook his head and said calmly, of course, we have an intelligence business. If you want to know the whereabouts of ancient weapons, I can sell you the intelligence. How much do you want? Make an offer. Golden Lion's eyes lit up and he asked excitedly. He. Qin Yang laughed in a low voice, just selling the information of ancient weapons to Golden Lion, he is not so stupid. This thing is very valuable. To be precise, it is worth the devil fruit. He considers how much he can ask for is more appropriate. Not only that, but the buyers are definitely not only the Golden Lion family, there are people all over the world who want it. Just as the lion was about to open his mouth, a golden light flew from the sky. An instant, golden light came to the sides of the two, the photons condensed, and the figure of Admiral Kizaru slowly appeared. Wait, Archangel. As soon as he appeared, Kizaru said quickly, can you sell the information about the ancient weapons you mentioned to Marine? Glancing at him, Qin Yang frowned and said, why are you here if you don't arrest the fleeing pirates? I was escaped. Kizaru's face was not very good. The captain of the Lance Pirates is a blood and blood fruit person. This ability is very good at hiding and absconding. I just injured the other party, and it was too late to stop it. The entire Lance Pirates 13 people, the Captain Lance, and the Deputy Captain all ran away, but 11 crew members were subdued by him, including Barber. If he hadn't sensed the appearance of the Golden Lion, Kizaru was ready to track it down, but in comparison, the Golden Lion was obviously more important. It's just that he didn't expect to hear about the ancient weapons, which shocked him. Dream actually has information about ancient weapons, it's a nightmare. After hearing his words, Qin Yang was speechless for a long time. This is your problem. It has nothing to do with me being escaped. The reward that should be given cannot be less than a cent. Lance can't escape, he doesn't care much, he only cares about the reward. At that time, he discovered that the Lance Pirates had sneaked out of the dark space, and he discovered it immediately and through Kizaru in the past, but he didn't expect that a fool like Kizaru could let people escape. No problem. Kizaru gritted his teeth, believing his dereliction of duty. Let's not talk about that, I'll let Marshal Sengoku tell you about ancient weapons. Predict. Saying that, he took out a phone bug and dialed the number. Sengoku's voice came Q-M. W. Kizaru, what's going on with you? Kizaru briefly mentioned the ancient weapon, and then Sengoku fell silent. After half a minute, Sengoku said solemnly, Archangel, which ancient weapons do you have information on? Are you tempted? Qin Yang, the old god, was there, and said slowly, Pluto, I know what it is, and I know where its design drawings are. You Marine have been working hard recently, isn't it just for it? Marine has some information and intelligence about where Hades is, but it has never been successful. Hearing this, Sengoku obviously changed his face, and even his voice was a little lower. Apart from Hades, what about Sea King and Heavenly King? Sea King has been bought out. Qin Yang said jokingly, We Dream has always paid attention to credibility, so any relevant information about Sea King will not be shot again. What? Sengoku's expression changed drastically and he was bought out. which means that someone has already obtained the whereabouts of Sea King, and even secretly, has mastered Poseidon, which is not good news for the world government. The same is true for Golden Lion. He never imagined that someone had already taken a step ahead of him. Archangel. At this moment, Golden Lion hurriedly said, I am willing to pay you a price that will satisfy you and sell me the information of Hades and Heavenly Kings. Wait. On a warship outside Cake Island, Sengoku's face was gloomy and he said extremely heavily, we Marine are willing to pay the price to buy out all the information about ancient weapons. Sea King Poseidon has been bought out, Pluto and Heavenly King must not fall into the hands of others, otherwise, the world government will be in trouble. This is a big crisis enough to subvert the power of the world, and it is much more troublesome than the current New World pirate riot. He. Marine panicked, but Chin Yong couldn't help but laugh. You guys want to buy it? I'm so sorry, I won't sell it to you. Will I sell it to you and keep it to deal with our dreams? Hearing this, Sengoku's face became more and more gloomy. I swear as Martial Marine, I will never use ancient weapons against you. We Marine got ancient weapons just to seal it up. This thing is too dangerous. Once it appears, the world will be in chaos and fall into endless wars. Sengoku, your nickname is the Resourceful General. I think it's better to change it to mentally retarded. Chin Yong rolled his eyes. Do you think I will believe your promise? Ha ha ha. Golden Lion laughed, looking very pleasing to Chin Yang's eyes. Yes, I can't believe a word of Marine's words. Archangel, we are both pirates, why don't you sell it to me and buy it out? The price is up to you. On. With ancient weapons, he can conquer the world and become a world hegemon. What price can't he pay? Chin Yong seemed to think about it seriously and said with a smile, yes, Golden Lion, you are very knowledgeable, and I also think it is suitable to sell it to you. Golden Lion was overjoyed by these words, and he was elated. Archangel, I propose again, how about we join forces? At that time, we will divide the whole world equally. Wait for me. Sengoku roared, his mind fluctuating. I already said I won't sell it to you, so what else do you want to say? Golden Lion was furious, and the conversation was very pleasant here, and Marine insisted on joining in. When he got the ancient weapon, he immediately destroyed the Marine headquarters. Chin Yong was not in a hurry, but waited playfully for the other party to speak. Taking a deep breath, Sengoku ignored the Golden Lion, his tone slightly trembling. Archangel no, dream, you win. He gritted his teeth and said humiliatingly, I am willing to pay the price, and I don't want the whereabouts of ancient weapons, just buy you don't talk. Buy you don't talk. In other words, it is the ceiling fee. Golden Lion is dumbfounded. Is this Sengoku crazy? Chin Yong was not surprised at all, as if he was waiting for this moment. If Big Mom is here, she will definitely feel the same way. She was cheated like this at the beginning, and it cost 10 billion inches to buy you not to sell. Now, Sengoku has also encountered such a situation, and paid a huge price, just to prevent the dream from leaking the information. You don't talk, Sengoku said bitterly again. Do you agree? No, this is the situation you want. It's ruthless. Ha ha ha. Chin Yong laughed in a low voice. Don't tell me I seem to be evil, Sengoku, you took the initiative to speak. Hearing this, Sengoku was so angry that he almost vomited blood. I've seen Shameless, I didn't expect to be so shameless. Chapter-202-shitstick Kaido. Second update starting tomorrow. I will return to the normal update time tilde morning, afternoon, and evening, one update each. Hollow Square. Bye you don't talk. Sengoku pulled his old face down and could only make this decision. Information on ancient weapons must not be leaked. The best way is to kill the dream, so that the dead can keep secrets, but it is unrealistic. If he can do it, he has already done it, why wait until now? Done, and the other party refuses to sell them Marine, they can only pay a hush fee. Fortunately, dreamy people are shameless and despicable, but unlike ordinary pirates, they still pay more or less attention to credibility and should not turn their backs in the short term. As for whether the other party really has information about ancient weapons, Sengoku dare not gamble. As long as there is a 10% possibility that it is true, he does not dare to take risks. Moreover, Marine currently has the news of Pluto. At least give him a little time, he can definitely get Pluto. At that time, dealing with dreams will have to be put on the agenda. Thinking of this, Sengoku said solemnly, as long as you don't leak information about ancient weapons, we Marine can give you 1 billion every month. Send the beggars. Chinyang fluttered his wings, slowly descended to the ground, and then took the phone bug from Kizaru's hand. Give us 3 devil fruits a month, whichever month is in arrears. I will immediately report to the world's major the power auctions information on ancient weapons. This kind of hush-up fee cannot be done at one time, and this monthly payment method is beneficial to both parties. You dreaming? Sengoku gritted his teeth. How much manpower does it take to salvage a devil fruit, do you know? Nonsense, of course I know that the Sea Beast Legion sacrificed half of the cannon fodder, and it took several months to salvage 2 pieces from the deep sea, which shows the difficulty. Chinyang was full of slander in his heart, but his face remained calm. Then give 10 fruits at a time. No, Sengoku said bitterly, 1 fruit per month, which is the highest price. 1 per month, 12 per year, even Marine can't afford the seal fee. Sengoku can only apply to the world government. Anyway, Tenryubito had quite a few in his hands. Rather than letting Tenryubito play at will, it would be better to take out the devil fruit and appease the dream. Chinyang thought about this offer for a moment, then nodded. Okay, since you are old customers, we will suffer a little bit, just 1 per month. Golden Lion on the side was dumbfounded. After receiving the protection fee, and receiving it from Marine, the whole world will be like a dream family, and there will be no semicolons. Roger was not so shameless back then. Dream is equivalent to doing nothing. As long as the information is not sold, you can get 1 devil fruit every month. Of course, this is only a verbal agreement, and whether the 2 parties will abide by it is unknown. Golden Lion sneered in his heart, and Marine became more and more alive. HMPH, I don't believe that Dream will abide by the agreement. When I promise benefits, they will surely sell me information quietly. In the end, this idiot Sengoku will still be empty. The 3 parties have their own considerations, and the scene did not even start. K-Doc on the side was an eye-opener, and he had a new understanding of the deterrent power of dreams. He was not sure if it was true or not. Just saying that, Marshal Marine didn't dare to gamble. This is no longer a degree of jealousy, but trust. Sengoku would actually believe that there is such information in Dream's hands. I've accepted it, it's not wrong to lose. Kadark took a deep breath, bared his teeth in pain, and after a while, he passed out as soon as he closed his eyes. While wrangling here, in the dark space. Floating Sky Island, the island is upside down, an iceberg is suppressed on the island, and all pirates are under it. And in the cave inside iceberg, the red stone has been broken due to iceberg's collapse, and it is now broken into 2 pieces. Suddenly, with a bang, under a pile of broken ice, a big white-haired dog with a body size of 7 or 8 meters suddenly sprang out. In the mouth of the big dog, there was a little loli in his mouth. It hurts, big dog, you idiot, can you be gentle? Nini Polan rubbed her small arms and legs and cried out in pain. Just after she finished speaking, she couldn't help shaking her head again, secretly thinking that she had communicated with the plush toy again. Wow! At this time, the big white-haired dog was yelling at the front. Nini Poland looked intently and saw a tall man standing in front of the broken red stone in front of her. Kaido. Nini looked terrified, her small body trembled, she couldn't believe that the 4 emperors would appear here. What a mess, it really is fake. The burly man smashed the scarlet stone with a punch and hummed, the real scarlet stone is not like this, the size is wrong. 4 red stones, one is in his hand, and the other is in Big Mom's hand. As for the other two, I don't know yet, but there are just a few clues. You, don't come here. Nini Poland became more and more frightened. She couldn't care about the question of whether the red stone was true or false, but kept backing away. Big dog, protect me. Hearing this, Kaido turned around and looked down and said, Are you the unicorn's vice captain, a toy fruit person? Nini swallowed her saliva, being careful not to be lightly frightened. No one knows the power of the four emperors better than her. Their unicorns clashed with the Whitebeard pirates. At that time, Whitebeard wiped out all her toys with just one punch. Exactly. Kaido grinned and said, I know you have a toy, treasure mouse, that can find corresponding treasures according to smell. I have a real red stone rubbing book here, with breath on it. You help me find the real thing, I will spare your life. No, isn't it fake? Annie's eyes flickered. HMPH, stupid. This piece is of course fake. I'm afraid it was created by a dream to lure you into being fooled. Of course, the real red stone is in the hands of Big Mom, and it is even possible that it is still on the island. Kaido slapped the big dog with a slap, walked up to Nini, and lifted her up like a chicken. Tell you, Dream and Marine teamed up to destroy all three of your pirates. Now the Storm Pirates are almost over. The Lance Pirates are the fastest, and you are the only unicorns left. Kaido save my brother, I'll help you. Nini was in a hurry. I'm not interested. Kaido snorted coldly. Do you think I want to be an enemy of those lunatics from Dream? It's not that I'm afraid of the Dream, the key is that the Big Mom pirate group was destroyed, and it is very likely that the captain of the Dream, Chin Emperor, did it. Kaido doesn't want to mess around until he's not sure. You must know that Halong was able to tie him at the beginning, and there was an archangel of the same level as Halong in 4.0 outside. His brain was broken, so he wanted to save people from another 4 emperors. Stop talking nonsense. If you find the real red stone, you can still survive. Otherwise, you can accompany your brother. If you are killed by a dreamer, it's fine. It falls into the hands of Marine, and you will stay in the deep sea for the rest of your life. Prison, never try to come out again. Quote. Nini Poland's face was miserable. If she had known that this red stone was fake, she should have realized that this is a scam, and the unicorn pirates will not fall into the current situation. I see, I'll help you find it. Meanwhile, outside the dark space. Chinyang suddenly turned his head, his eyes seemed to penetrate the physical distance, and he could clearly see a little commotion inside. Why is this guy here, to be a shit stick? What's the matter? Kizaru put away the phone bug and asked, this guy. Who? 4 emperors, Kaido. Chapter 0203 _ Do you want to be destroyed? 4 emperors, Kaido. Chinyang spoke softly. Everything that happened in the dark space, it was difficult to escape his perception. Kaido's breath suddenly appeared. It was simply a bright moon in the dark, so conspicuous that it was impossible to not pay attention. Kaido. Kizaru frowned. Why is he here? He ran away last time. Last time at Sabayati Archipelago, Kaido was beaten and captured by them, and then escaped by the other party, which can be described as a great shame. It's for the red stone. It's not the fake one, but the real one. Chinyang glanced at Kadark, who had passed out in a coma, and said, most of the pirates have been suppressed. You guys are ready to clean up the mess. I'll go meet him for a while. As soon as the voice fell, Chinyang's figure suddenly disappeared, and a streamer quickly rushed into the dark space. At this moment, the bird cage has disappeared, and its maintenance time is not as long as Doflamingo is confident. Seeing him go away, Kizaru then turned his gaze to Golden Lion, hand over Kadark. Give it to you, this guy is worthless anyway. Golden Lion laughed loudly and threw the unconscious Kadark directly, then climbed to a height and quickly fled away. Marine, this time you're bad for me, I'm going to wipe out Marineford sooner or later. Wait for me, Gia ha 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 ha. The wild laughter gradually faded away. Kizaru frowned, hesitated for a long time, but didn't chase. Not that I don't want to catch Golden Lion, but I can't catch it. The other party is at his peak, but Roger is a legendary pirate of the same level. The strength of the 4 emperors is adequate, and he is stronger than the general 4 emperors. He can even kill Roger. Pushed into a corner. Although he is old now and his legs are gone, the fluttering fruit is also a rather tricky ability. Deal with the escaped pirates first. Thinking of this, Kizaru caught Kadark, then took the phone bug and contacted his troops. Dark space. Kaido took Nini Poland out of the iceberg cave and quickly left the land of right and wrong. At this moment, the entire floating sky island is slowly descending in height, and the gravity that seems to be flipped has begun to recover. Not only that, the eternal darkness, like a tide, gradually fades away. These darkness began to disappear from all directions, all absorbed by the cloud of holy light above the sky. Holy and holy light, once again illuminate the earth. Boom! Floating sky island fell, hitting the ground, filling a huge pothole. Iceberg at the bottom landed first, and was finally smashed to pieces, and the suppressed pirates were all buried. Nini. At this moment, a black-haired giant ape roared. He ran quickly, came directly to the iceberg crash point, smashed the dust frantically, trying to find his sister. This person is Andy Poland, the captain of the Unicorn Pirates. Where? Andy looked flustered, and despite his dark skin, he could see he was very excited. Because in the perception of his observation hockey, Nini Poland's breath disappeared. When this happens, it generally means that his sister is dead. At this moment, an angel with 6 wings on its back suddenly appeared above his head. Archangel. Seeing the other party, Andy's eyes were bloodshot and he was extremely angry. It's all your fault, Nini is dead. I'm going to kill you. Your sister is still alive. Chinyang said calmly, there are 6,278 pirates buried here, your sister Nini Poland is not among them. What did you say? Andy's eyes widened. Where is she? Why can't I sense his presence? She was taken away. The person who took her, observation hockey, has a higher level than you and can, group seclusion. Of course, you can't detect him. Chinyang is like a god, pointing the direction to the confused people, he points to the north. As the 4 emperors, Kaido's level is of course higher than Andy's. Among them, observation hockey can achieve seclusion. The original observation hockey is the extreme enhancement of hearing. When you close your eyes, you can hear a lot of messy sounds. After that, you can predict the opponent's attack trajectory, which is equivalent to hearing the opponent's muscle breathing. Later, with the improvement of practice, you can gradually perceive the breath of others, reclusive your own breath, reclusive in the group, listen to the breath, heart, and so on. Among them, listening to the voice, in Sky Island, also known as Shinwang, is a very advanced observation hockey, which is equivalent to mind reading, and people who can master it are extremely rare. At this time, hearing the words of the Archangel, Andy didn't have time to doubt it. He fell down on all fours, and then suddenly bounced. In one leap, he crossed a distance of several hundred meters and flew towards Kaido. At the same time, Kaido stopped suddenly. How did he find me? Kaido frowned, he sensed Andy rushing towards him. Just as he was thinking, a roar came. Kaido, the black-haired giant ape growled, give Nini back to me. Mid-air, Andy saw the existence of Kaido at a glance, and also saw Nini Poland who was taken away by Kaido. Brother. Nini's eyes lit up and she was relieved when she saw the black-haired giant ape. Get out of the way, Nini. Andy yelled and attacked from mid-air, punching Kaido hard. Don't get in the way. Kaido snorted coldly, stepped forward, and punched the opponent. Boom. The 2 fists collided, one big and one small, out of proportion. However, under such a situation, the black-haired giant ape was forced back by a single blow, while Kaido was safe and sound, only the earth shook. Ancient species is trouble, you can't kill it. Kaido frowned, then shouted, Jack. In the distance, a tall figure walked slowly. Okay, Captain, I'll deal with him. The person who appeared was tall and tall, with a pair of particularly long ivory, extending forward from the position of the ears. Seeing this person 240, the face of the black-haired giant ape changed. One of the three disasters drought Jack. This person is Zone, ancient species, mammoth fruit. A bounty of 800 million. Although it is only 800 million, its strength is not. Bounty is not equal to strength. At least the three disasters in front of him are only stronger than his Andy Poland. The same ancient species, are you afraid of me? Jack chuckled, I'll be your opponent. After one glance, Kaido was not interested in waiting, grabbed a hand of Nini, and ordered, go quickly. Let your treasure mouse find something. Don't kill my brother. Nini gritted her teeth. Ha ha ha, that depends on your performance. Kaido snorted coldly and motioned for the opponent to act. However, at this moment, a holy light flashed, and the figure of the archangel appeared directly in front of Kaido. Go, where are you going? Chinyang looked at each other calmly. Kaido's pupils shrank suddenly, and his heart was horrified. How fast? What speed is this? My observation hockey is not responding. Could feel something approaching, but observation hockey didn't have time to react, and the other party had already appeared in front of him. Archangel, Kaido said solemnly. Chinyang's whole body shone with holy light, which was extremely sacred. Fourth Emperor Kaido, you are so brave. We dreamed that we didn't trouble you, but you dared to provoke us. Do you really want to become the second 4 emperors to be destroyed? This, Kaido was shocked and blurted out, Big Mom, you really did it. Chapter 0204_The 4 Emperors. First update. Well, I overslept, and my left eye hurts. I blinked and it hurts. I don't know what's going on. Oh, hollow square, oh close black lens bracket. As expected, you did it. Kaido's heart shook. Although there has been speculation before that the Big Mom pirate group collapsed bizarrely overnight, which must have been done by a certain force, but the Archangel bluntly admitted that it still surprised him. That was one of the 4 top forces in the New World, and it was destroyed overnight. How strong are these mysterious murderers like Dream? How is it? Chinyang said calmly. 4 Emperor Kaido, what are you doing here? HMPH, knowingly asking. Kaido snorted coldly and said, I didn't mean to conflict with you, I just came to get a rubbing. Scarlet Stone. Chinyang couldn't help sneering. That's why you are not as strong as Roger, or even as powerful as Golden Lion. You also include Big Mom. The situation of these 4 emperors is the same as the checkpoint. The final map of a game cannot be found, so how can we pass the level? Whitebeard was not interested. Before Roger died, he had a drink with him, trying to tell Whitebeard how to find and enter Lahoodle, but Whitebeard directly refused. And Redhead, who was Roger's crew at the time, had been to Lahoodle. Kaido looked unhappy at the sarcasm and hummed, you want to stop me? Interesting question. Breaking into Cake Island without my consent. Chinyang raised his eyebrows. I'm not trying to stop you, but to repel you. As soon as the voice fell, Chinyang started directly. Although he has no interest in the red stone, he does not allow Kaido to take it away casually. Of course, the most critical problem is that the other party directly ignores his existence and wants to steal the red stone, which is absolutely impossible. At this moment, I punched it, and the holy light shone on the fist. Just fight. Ha ha ha, you can't kill me. Kaido grinned, didn't back down, and stepped forward. Boom. The 2 fists collided, and a manic shock was immediately set off. Who was in the nearest position, was immediately caught up in the aftermath. The whole person was like a rag, blown away from a distance, and smashed a boulder directly. With a puff, she vomited blood. Monster. Her face was pale and her body trembled. The aftermath can hurt me, and a punch in the front can kill me. How dare she stay, and immediately fled the center of the battle. At the same time, Jack, one of the 3 disasters, also looked solemn. He looked at the black-haired giant ape and said, let's change places. It's no joke to be involved here. Humph. With a snort, Andy didn't say a word, slapped Jack with a slap, and then turned around and ran towards Nini Poland. Come on, Nini. With a huge body, he approached her in 3 or 2 steps, then grabbed her and put her on his shoulders. I saw a huge black ape running wildly on the ground, and in the blink of an eye, Tilda actually ran out of a kilometer. Brother, while Kaido and the Dream Dog Angel are at war, we can go get the real red stone. Nini sat on the shoulders of the black-haired giant ape, holding a golden mouse in her small hands. The little mouse was also wearing a vest with the word, treasure, written on it. This is a toy treasure hunting mouse. It has a sense of smell that is 1,000,000 times higher than that of ordinary people. It can find targets and treasures through a little breath. No, it's too messy here. Marine, 4 emperors, Dream, let's get out first. Andy Poland didn't even look back, just wanted to leave quickly with his sister. Most of the unicorn pirates were killed or injured, it doesn't matter, as long as his sister is still alive, he can re-establish a pirate group. Don't run. Suddenly, Jack from behind quickly chased after him. You bastard, leave that little girl for me. Kaido also had to use Nini's ability to find the red stone, how could she let her go easily? Jack. Andy glanced back and shouted angrily, get out of here. Roar. The giant ape roared and attacked with sound waves. Attacked by the sound that shocked the soul, Jack's body froze. Not only did he fail to catch up, but he was pulled further away. This is trouble. Jack scratched his head. Can't catch up. This monkey runs so fast. Muttering like this, Jack said again, that direction, it's marine. It's really self-defeating. Saying that, he moved and chased after him again. On the other hand, Andy, who was in front of him, ran with Nini all the way, and finally came to the coast. As soon as he arrived here, the giant ape form was lifted immediately, and Andy regained his normal height. Nini, turn the big bird out and we'll be evacuated from the sky. Okay, brother. Nini took off a golden hairpin on top of her head and threw it violently towards the sky. Immediately, the ability of the toy fruit was activated, and the hairpin suddenly swelled, turning into a big bird with a wingspan of more than 10 meters. The big bird is an eagle, and the long needle head of the hairpin becomes the long tail of the eagle, which looks quite beautiful. Go. Andy pulled her sister up, ready to jump on Big Bird's back. However, at this moment, a cold snap hit. Pheasant beak. In the loud shout, this cold current turned into a huge ice bird, which devoured the big bird Nini released in an instant. If you run away, that's a headache. Words came, and in front of the sea, Kuzan was wearing Marine's justice coat, stepping on the sea water, and strode forward. Every time you take a step, the sea under your feet will be frozen, and you can see a long sea ice road along the way. The next moment, behind Kuzan, a huge lava fist suddenly struck. Leave me all great, major eruption. The raging flames, the lava fist inside, seemed to shatter iceberg with a single blow, and came directly towards the 2 brothers and sisters. Brother, Nini's face turned pale, it's 2 admirals. I'll deal with it. Andy looked gloomy. Nini, you go first. Roar. With a loud roar, he once again turned into a black-haired giant ape of 30 to 50 meters. He stepped forward and blocked a Kainu's big lava fist with his flesh. The sound of barbecue sounded, and Andy gritted his teeth and shouted, come on, Nini. Not to mention the battle here, the location of the center of the island. Kaido with one blow, knocking the opponent upside down for several hundred meters. Kaido's whole body was like a ball, rolling on the ground, and it took a while for him to stabilize his body. With a big hand, he plunged directly into the ground. With a roar, he lifted the ground up and threw it towards Chin-young. Ha ha ha, it is as powerful as your sea dragon. Kaido laughed wildly and threw the raised ground. However, with a flash of holy light, Chin-young approached in an instant, swept across with one foot, and kicked out a piece of holy light. You're left with the ability to be beaten. Like a whip, and it hit Kaido with a single blow, sending him flying away. PFF'd. Kaido's face was ugly, and it was only when he really started to fight that he realized how disgusting this extraordinary speed was. He couldn't even touch the corner of the other party's clothes, so he could only be beaten one-sidedly. This bastard. Thinking of this, he suddenly lost his mind to fight. After all, he is not a masochist. Archangel, get out of the way. I have no direct conflict with you. I just want to take the red stone rubbing from the hands of Big Mom. For this reason, I can give you another rubbing. Do you admit it? Chinyang chuckled. I'm sorry, I'm not interested. As he said that, he turned his hand and shook it, and suddenly the holy light shone, and a holy light spear suddenly appeared. Don't hide if you have the guts. Whoosh. Light spear shot out, as if to pierce Kaido's heart. Chapter 0205-Big Harvest. Second update. After some research in the mirror, I found that the left eye was scratched by something, and there was a very shallow blood stain on the eye bag O, hollow square O close black lens bracket. Holy light spear. Whoosh. The silver-white long spear, shining brightly, aimed at Kaido's chest and stabbed straight away. Roaring through the space, the gun seemed to travel at the speed of light, traversing a distance of 100 meters in an instant, and approached Kaido's chest. Bastards! What grudges do I have with you? Kaido was furious, and Haki showed no restraint, as if he was wearing invisible armor. He grabbed his hands outward, and within 1/100th of a second, he caught the spear of holy light that came flying. The powerful impact pushed him to keep retreating, but under Haki's protection, he was able to resist the impact. Blast! Chinyang whispered, and suddenly, the silver spear shone with holy light, extremely dazzling, and exploded with a bang, engulfing Kaido at close range. The world turned into a vast expanse of white in an instant, and a round of white sun was rising. Kaido couldn't dodge at all. This kind of large-scale attack, and it was so close, could only resist with his body. Boom! The huge explosion could be felt even outside the island. After seeing the explosion, it took more than 10 seconds to hear the sound of the sound, followed by the raging wind. The aftermath of this blow swept through almost 1/5 of Cake Island, and countless buildings were flattened. Chinyang fluttered his wings and flew into the air, as if he were the master, staring at the battlefield below. After a long time, the aftermath dissipated. The center of the explosion, in the thick dust, Kaido's figure slowly emerged. His appearance could not be described as miserable. With his naked upper body, only a little bit of clothing was destroyed, and his strong body was covered with blood. Especially the hands, almost half of them were blown off, and the flesh was blurred. Previously, he grabbed the holy light spear with both hands, so when it exploded, his hands took the most damage. However, Rao is so, he is not dead. His body is covered in trauma, and he is still recovering quickly. No wonder Marine can't help you, it's really hard to kill. Chinyang looked down at the opponent and said calmly, the blow just now, Whitebeard is here, you will be seriously injured if you don't die, but you can handle it. This, Kaido's eyes were cold and murderous intent flickered. He didn't want to conflict with Dream, not because he was afraid, but because he didn't want to cause extra troubles and affect his purpose of capturing the Scarlet Stone. However, the injury to his body at the moment obviously angered him. But the angrier he got, the calmer Kaido's brain got. You can't kill me. At most, you will be severely injured. This kind of injury will take me 10 minutes to recover. Kaido's face was grim, and he slowly stood up straight, but in a short while, his bleeding had stopped. Really? Chinyang grinned Isho, then I'll let your old friend come to play with you. Quote. As soon as the voice fell, a sound of dragon roar came out. I saw a black streamer flashing out of the chest of the Archangel and flew into the sky. The next moment, a 100-meter black scale dragon suddenly appeared. You. At this moment, Longwei suppressed the whole island, and everyone on the island could feel a heavy pressure on their shoulders. This is a sea dragon. Outside the island, on a warship, Sengoku's expression changed drastically. The breath is stronger than before. Tsuru Vice Admiral said blankly. What happened? Observation haki, one after another extended to the center of the island. At the same time, Kaido's pupils shrank, and he cursed inwardly. You're cruel. Leaving a sentence, he didn't even think about it, turned around and started running. One hit and one, he is not afraid. No matter how strong and fast the Archangel is, it is difficult to kill him with one hit, but 2 hits one is different. I am the master of the ocean. The sea dragon spit out human words, and a pair of dragon eyes looked down at Kaido below. You are provoking my dreams, and you are looking for a dead end. As soon as the voice fell, he slapped it with a paw. Immediately, 5 water blades shot out, and the wind rose when they saw the wind, and instantly expanded into 5 battleship swords. Looking back, Kaido gritted his teeth and shouted, what's the point of 2 against 1? He didn't dare to fight recklessly, he just chose to dodge. Boom! The 5 water blades directly cut the earth, but it is still necessary to divide the entire island. Kaido is a 4 Emperor class after all, and he wants to avoid an escape, and his speed is also very fast. It's just that he is fast, and the Archangel is faster than him. Light flashed, and Chinyong instantly stopped in front of Kaido. You messed up with us and just ran away, you think so beautifully. Chinyong raised his right hand, and immediately, the holy light longsword condensed and pointed directly at Kaido. Seeing this, Kaido took a deep breath and said, wait, I don't have any real grudge with you. This time I'll admit it, if you have any conditions, you can go. It's still like a human word. Chinyong chuckled and said, if you step into the cake island without permission, hand over 5 fruits. Don't bully people too much. Kaido was annoyed. Forcing me to do my best, I can kill one of you too. Do you think I shot with all my strength just now? Chinyong curled his lips. I don't need Hailong, I can beat you to lose your temper by myself, but it's just a long fight. I'm not interested in wasting time. Kaido was speechless. Thinking of him being majestic, there will be a day when he will be persecuted. However, under the eaves, people have to bow their heads. Okay, the 5 fruits will be handed over to you when I go back. He gritted his teeth and glared at Chinyong. Archangel, if you don't want the red stone, don't occupy this site. Dreams don't need red stones, but they are not allowed to be captured by others. It is really hateful. He just wanted to get a rubbing, but he couldn't. That's not the problem. Chinyong shook his head. It doesn't matter what happens to the red stone, but you can't step into the cake island, otherwise, next time, it won't be 5 fruits. Humph, I remember. Kaido was annoyed, snorted, and turned away. He felt aggrieved, but there was nothing he could do. The opponent was 2 4 emperors, and he couldn't beat him. Moreover, if he continued, God knew what monsters would come out of the dream, and he would not be able to leave if he really wanted to. Watching the other party walk away, Chinyong glanced at the sky, and the sea dragon disappeared immediately, turning into black light and submerging into the body. He is also not afraid of Kaido's default, so he will go directly to the door to get the apology. Fufufu, as expected of a dream, the 4 emperors Kaido have to obey. At this time, a figure fell from the sky. It was Doflamingo. How's it going? Chinyong glanced at him and asked, how many more fruits were born? Except for the mirror fruit left at the beginning, 3 more parasites appeared in the box. Doflamingo pointed, and immediately, the box moved to Chinyong. In the box, among a large pile of fruits, 4 fruits lay quietly in it. There are not as many as I imagined. There are more than 7 or 8 people who have died. Not every time there is a 50% probability, and this time, the distance is relatively far, and it is not bad to have 3 parasites. Chinyong nodded, thinking about the harvest this time. He used 8 fruits to upgrade the Archangel, and aside from the materials that had been consumed, there were 4 more in the box. Complete Marine's quest and you will get 6 pieces. Kaido's apology, there will be 5 pieces. Also, Marine gave him the hush money, 1 per month. Get rich. I don't know if I don't know, even Chin Yang couldn't help being a little surprised. Big deal. Chapter 0206_Why are you again? Chin Yang couldn't help but be surprised after carefully calculating this harvest. Excluding the fruit that has been consumed, the remaining total is 15, plus a ceiling fee of 1 per month. However, among the 15 fruits, 4 are already in his hands, 6 are about to be delivered by Marine, and the last 5 needs to be asked by Kaido himself. Not only that, but every month in the future, Marine has to give him a fruit. Big deal. Chin Yang couldn't help but feel a little overjoyed. During this riot, Marine suppressed the rioting pirates and barely ensured the peace of the New World, and he got what he wanted, which can be said to be very happy. Thinking of this, Chin Yang collected the fruits and said, "Get ready to clean up the battlefield. There are still some harvests that need to be cleaned up, but I will not participate." The Lance pirates escaped, the captain of the Storm pirates was arrested, and the captain of the Unicorn pirates could hardly stand it. Almost all the other pirates were suppressed by Chin Yang under Iceberg. It can be said that in the first battle, a large pirate group in the New World was wiped out. For the game is a bit big this time, so be careful next time. Doflamingo chuckled twice. "I'm going to clean the battlefield." Saying that, he turned to leave. Chin Yang ignored him, his 6 wings trembled, and swiftly headed towards Marine's position. Before long, he flew to the port. At this time, in the port of Cake Island, there were more than a dozen warships lined up outside a group of docked pirate ships. And some lucky pirates, faced with this kind of battle, simply raised the white flag and surrendered, giving up the idea of running away. If you force it, you will only be sunk. Marine's firepower this time is still on top of Buster Call. It's an archangel. On a command ship, the Great Staff, he was the first to see Chin Yang flying from the sky. It was only her words that she finished speaking. Within 2 or 3 seconds, the other party was already approaching the bow of the boat, and the 6 wings were spread out, giving people a great pressure. Seeing this, a group of Marines is like a formidable enemy. Chin Yang glanced over and finally stopped at Sengoku. "The promised thing has been completed. Where's the reward?" "Do you think I will carry 6 devil fruits with me?" Sengoku said solemnly. "When the matter here is settled, I will wait for you at the Marine headquarters to get it." He, no problem. Chin Yang grinned and said, "Also, you Marines are only allowed to arrest people. All the things left on the battlefield belong to our dreams. Now Doflamingo is cleaning the battlefield. Before he finishes, you guys can't interfere." The previous agreement between Dream and Marine, an additional content was that all the pirates who were annihilated by Dream had the power, and everything they gained would belong to Dream. Chin Yang himself was too lazy to clean, so he directly let Doflamingo do this kind of work. And hearing this, Sengoku moved in his heart and asked, "Doflamingo, is he also a member of Dream?" "No, he's not qualified yet, at least not for the time being." Chin Yang waved his hand and was too lazy to tell him this. "Anyway, remember what I said, if you breach the contract, I'd be happy to go to Marine headquarters to make a scene." After speaking, Chin Yang dodged and flew away. The Archangel flew with all his strength. How fast the speed was, and in the blink of an eye, the figure had disappeared into the sky. Another big trouble. Suru Vice Admiral said with a headache. "Where did the dream come from? This is another 4 Emperor-level cadre." "Stabilize them first," Sengoku said solemnly. "Continue like this, they will become stronger and stronger." Suru Vice Admiral said in a voice that only the 2 of them could hear. "You should be able to guess the purpose of their collection of devil fruits, right?" "I know it." Sengoku gritted his teeth, his tone rather helpless. Collecting devil fruits on such a large scale is not to form an army of capable people, but to unlock the seal. Among the members of the Dream, there are probably more experts. The more devil fruits they get, the faster their overall strength will expand. Although he could guess a few points, Sengoku did not dare to default on his debts. It seems that we can only speed up the acquisition of Pluto. Thinking of this, Sengoku made a decision in his heart. Soon after, a certain sea area in the New World, Chinyang released the Archangel and transformed himself into a sea dragon, cruising in the ocean. After a battle, the holy power of the Archangel was consumed a lot, and he had to cultivate and recover. Continued flight consumes a lot. In contrast, the sea dragon cruising in the sea has no consumption. Slowly heading towards the Red Earth continent, Chinyang suddenly sensed the fluctuation of the ocean current and looked forward intently. I saw the figure of a ship in the distance of the sea level. Vivi narrowed his eyes, and Chinyang could barely see the exterior. The big ship had a red sail on it, and the flag printed on the sail was an old acquaintance. Why are they again? Chinyang opened his mouth and said incredulously, the world is so big, how can you meet casually? When he discovered the other party, the people on that boat also discovered the existence of Chinyang. The sea dragon has a huge body, and even if only a head emerges, it is easy to be seen by the telescopic lens. Sure enough, the big ship came in the direction of Chinyang, and stopped in front of it in advance. It didn't take long for the two sides to approach tens of meters away. I saw a group of women standing there on the deck of the pirate ship, and the Empress Boya Hancock, even more beautiful, stared at him. I found you. The Empress gritted her teeth and said, you stupid dragon, where are you going this time? Hearing this, Chinyang was speechless for a while, before he said, it's very fateful, the little girl Empress, but, as the Emperor of the Daughter Kingdom, what are you doing chasing Benlong all over the world instead of running the country? Speaking of which, what are you doing? Know that Benlong is here. Humph. Concubine's intuition. Empress snorted softly and said, recently, there has been a rumor circulating in the dark world that the relevant information about the great secret treasure is hidden in the Cake Island. This kind of news must be fake, and someone deliberately released it. And those who can do this, apart from your dreams, there will be no second power. Intuition is quite accurate. Chinyang shook his head and was about to say something when suddenly he looked up at the sky. Stupid dragon. This time, my concubine will never let you run away. The Empress reprimanded softly, but halfway through her words, she suddenly frowned, her beautiful eyes looking up to the sky. I saw a huge ship flying overhead slowly. Jia ha 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 ha, I didn't find the Archangel, but I found another master cadre of the dream. From the bow of the spaceship, the golden lion slowly floated down. Behind him, on a floating wooden board, several pirates stood quietly. One of them, Chinyang also knew, was Daros, with a bounty of 300 million. Not long ago, he met this person when he arrived at Cake Island as an archangel. Golden Lion. Chinyang raised his eyebrows and looked at the person coming. The Empress on the side heard the words with a surprised expression, the legendary great pirate. She stared at each other with a bad expression, but she took a lot of effort to find the sea dragon, and she would never allow others to make trouble. Sea dragon. Golden Lion stood in the air and said loudly, I want to see your captain. How dare you look down on Benlong? Chinyang snorted coldly, and suddenly, a dragon's might emanated. Get off me. Boom. Suddenly, including a few cadres, Golden Lion felt a tinnitus all at once, and a huge dragon's might blessed them, as if an invisible big hand slapped them down from the sky. What? Golden Lion looked horrified, and his body fell uncontrollably toward the sea. Chapter 0207 _ What's the use of just drawing? First update. It's finally back to normal update time, congratulations Tilda. Golden Lion only felt tinnitus, and Sea Dragon's cold snort seemed to draw out an invisible big hand, which slapped him down from the sky. What kind of power is this? Golden Lion was stunned, and the ability of fluttering fruit seemed to be lost in an instant. No, to be precise, he forgot how to control his ability in an instant, his head was blank, and he fell straight into the sea. Seeing that he was about to fall into the sea, he suddenly regained his senses, stopped the fall immediately, and then floated on the sea surface in embarrassment. A pair of eyes looked at the sea dragon in surprise, and Golden Lion's face became very ugly. Compared with another Dominion-level Cadre Archangel, Sea Dragon seems to be stronger. A cold snort, a burst of dragon might. If he can't be caught, he has to be attacked. Compared with him, the Cadres who were standing on the wooden board were not so lucky. The three fell from the wooden board and fell into the sea with a thud. Daros even shouted and slapped the sea frantically, but his body sank uncontrollably. "Save me, I'm the one with ability." He screamed for help, and only then did a Cadre who could swim pulled him. The female emperor on the side raised her eyebrows and said to herself, "I haven't seen him for a while, he has become stronger. At least, Sea Dragon's control of its own dragon power has become handy, and the previous Sea Dragon could never do such a thing." This discovery immediately made the Empress quite tangled, as if she couldn't defeat this stupid dragon. Golden Lion calmly, and said, "How did you find me?" Hearing this, before the Golden Lion spoke, Daros, who had just been rescued, sneered at Isho. Said, "I am a person with the ability of the Fruit of Direction. As long as I ask in my heart, where can I find the dreamer, the ability of the fruit will tell me the right direction." Can this unreliable ability succeed once in 5 times? Another Cadre who saved him earlier couldn't help but complain. "Isn't it a success this time?" Daros said dissatisfiedly. However, relying on this ability, he often escaped from death and turned auspiciousness into good luck. However, this ability also has great limitations. Before he has met a dreamer, he cannot do such a thing. This ability can only be used if he has met an archangel on Cake Island. Only Daros knew the specific conditions of use, and he never told anyone. Hearing his words, Chinyang was a little stunned. "The fruit of the direction, I see it on Doflamingo's map." Thinking in his heart, he said, "The captain doesn't have time to see you. If you have anything, you can tell Ben Long." He could somewhat guess the purpose of Golden Lion, and he also thought of a good idea, and by the way, he took advantage of Marine. "Gia ha ha ha," Golden Lion grinned, with a turn of light. He said suddenly, "I know you have information about ancient weapons in your dream hand. I am willing to spend a lot of money to buy Q." Ancient weapons. On the pirate ship, the Empress was stunned. Of course she knew about this kind of thing. There are only a few words in the ancient books of the Daughter's Country. It is a ferocious thing that can destroy the world. He. Chinyang chuckled and said, "Do you think Benlong doesn't know about the deal between the Archangel and Marine? Marine gave the hush money. Our dream will not violate our credibility. Let's go." "Benlong does know, but he won't sell it to you." Golden Lion frowned. Archangel made a deal with Marine. How could he even know about this sea dragon? He originally thought that the rest of the Dream members didn't know about the hush money, so he could buy it after a time difference, but now it seems that this plan has failed. Just as he was thinking, he heard Chinyang say to himself, "Although I won't sell it to you, Benlong can tell you an irrelevant piece of information. Recently, Marine has been active in the Seven Waters City very frequently. Maybe there's some secret treasure there." Hearing this, Golden Lion was startled, then laughed. "Ha ha ha, I like you very much. Thank you for this irrelevant information." With a wave of his hand, he immediately lifted off into the sky. The 3 Cadres looked at each other and could only sit on the flying wooden planks and evacuate together. This group of people came and went quickly, and in the blink of an eye, the huge spaceship disappeared into the clouds. Watching the other party go away, Chinyang suddenly shook his head. "Idiot. There are blueprints for the ancient weapon Pluto in the capital of the Seven Waters. Of course he knows this kind of thing." Golden Lion was reminded was to cause trouble for Marine. As the dream grows stronger and more amazing, Marine will be forced to rush. Otherwise, recruit soldiers in the world, expand their own strength, and recruit some powerful masters. Or, simply aim at the ancient weapons, and the Pluto is the most likely to be obtained by Marine. Pluto is a super battleship, rumored to be able to sink an island with one shot, and is currently sleeping somewhere in the world. What's the use of design drawings? It's impossible to build a super warship from scratch without decades. Qin shook his head. Golden Lion didn't know anything. He even happily served him as a gunman. Moreover, the design drawings are full of ancient characters, and whether they can understand them is a problem. Marine got it. Maybe he could really understand it, but Golden Lion, 9 times out of 10, was blind. The world government has always hoped to obtain Hades to end the era of the Great Pirate. According to the normal timeline, after 10 years, they almost succeeded, but unfortunately they met Monkey D. Luffy. Qin Yang's thoughts flew in his heart, and he kept thinking, however, I am afraid that the pace will speed up now, and I have to find time to do damage. Although he doesn't need ancient weapons, he doesn't want others to get them. Golden Lion is going to be a shit stick. Marine will definitely have a way to deal with it. At that time, he will have to destroy the blueprint himself. Shaking his head, Qin put this aside for now. He transformed into a streamer and projected it on the deck of the 9 snake pirates. It's a rare encounter, so let's get Benlong some delicious food, just because he's hungry. Qin walked on the deck with his body, as if he had come to his own home. You're so welcome. The Empress clenched her silver teeth tightly, her teeth itch with hatred. The last time this stupid dragon escaped from her hands, and before leaving, he kissed her, which is really hateful. Compared with her, the rest of the crew welcomed Qin very much. Lord Patronus, what would you like to eat? The mad believer Amanda said quickly, very enthusiastically. All over again. Qin was happy, and immediately walked into the cabin. At the same time, he asked in his heart, Huan, how many devil fruits do you need to upgrade the 3-star Archangel to 5.54 stars? 16 pieces. Fantasy Jean simply burst out a number. PFF'd. Qin couldn't help but coughed. 16 pieces, are you kidding me? With any other transformations, I can be promoted to 5 stars. The limits are not the same. Fantasy Jean said without emotion. Although each 5-star is strong, their limits are different. Of course, you can also choose to upgrade the rest of the transformations. Each transformation to 5 stars will change qualitatively. Quote. Hearing this, Qin nodded, thinking about the rest of the transformation in his mind. The Archangel has reached a 3-star level, and his combat power has already taken shape, which is barely sufficient. Before there is a lot of fruit, it is difficult to rise to 5-star. If you upgrade the rest of the transformations, after thinking about it, the Shadow Demon can be used as a backup, and the Lich King can also be used as a backup. Now there are 4 fruits in hand, and the mirror fruit must be kept, that is to say, there are only 3. Which one is better to upgrade? Chapter 0208_Darkness is coming. Second update, about the attire of the old sword. When it was written by Arturia, but it was temporarily changed to the male Arthur, so the costume was not changed. Close black lens bracket. Which transformation to upgrade? In the restaurant of the 9 snake pirates, Qin kept thinking about this question. It seemed that the sumptuous food on the table couldn't arouse his appetite, and he just ate it slowly. At present, there are 4 fruits in hand, and the mirror fruit is a waste of material for rising stars, so only 3 can be used. For a 3-star Lich King, to upgrade to a 4-star level requires 5 fruits, which is not enough. Hand, the Shadow Demon, 2-star upgrade to 3-star, only needs 2 pieces. Sure enough, let's try the Shadow Demon first. I wonder what abilities the 3-star Shadow Demon will have. It's just 2 fruits. If it was before, Qin would have to consider it, but now, he has a lot of money and he has decided decisively. However, at the moment it is on the Empress ship, there are many people, so I have to eat and drink enough to leave, and find a place where there is no one to upgrade. Thinking of this, Qin suddenly came back to his senses and raised his eyes to look elsewhere. The Empress sat in the first place, her beautiful eyes staring at him, not knowing what she was looking at. 15. A group of crew members were busy decorating the dining room. "What is this doing?" Chin Yong asked. "Lord Patronus, the new year is approaching," Amanda explained. "In the new year, the ship will also be 1 year older, so I need to decorate it, and bless everyone on the ship. Stay safe." "Is that so?" Chin Yong said in surprise. "Yeah, according to rumors, only ships that are loved by people will have ship spirits born. According to legend, the ships that give birth to the spirits of ships will have some incredible abilities." Amanda nodded her head. "You can treat it like a ritual." Quote. The spirit of the ship, this Chin Yong knows, although he has never seen it, he knows that it does exist. However, on the New Year's Day, cleaning and decorating his own ship seems to be similar to the New Year's celebration in his previous life, except that, on Earth, it is to clean the house. Shaking his head, Chin Yong didn't have any hope for this ship to give birth to a ship spirit. Seeing this, the Empress snorted softly and said, "The Patronus, you are also a spiritual creature born between heaven and earth. Have you ever seen a ship spirit?" She deliberately emphasized the word, patron saint, which was obviously sarcastic. "This stupid dragon is pretending, and most of the people on his ship really believe him. It's really hateful." Chin Yong rolled his eyes. "Why haven't you seen this dragon?" "The elf of a mere ship, it was born out of repayment of gratitude. It usually appears, accompanied by thick fog, and takes the form of a human figure, holding a mallet and wearing a raincoat. As for possessing incredible ability, probably based on misinformation, but it will appear when the ship is in danger and give early warning." Quote. His remarks, even the shape and appearance are described. It can be said that the authenticity is extremely high. Vivi raised the corner of the queen's mouth, as if she had one, and said, "Stupid dragon, you have probably seen it before, but what you have seen is only the most common ship spirit. The real ship spirit does possess incredible abilities. No, it should be said that the ship that gave birth to it has magical power." Hearing this, Chin Yong Vivi was startled. "How do you know?" "Sure. Of course, the concubine has been seen in the ancient records of the daughter country. 50 steps to laugh at 100 steps. Chin Yong was speechless. "When you see it, tell me again." Empress was in a hurry, glared at him, and said, "What do you want to do?" "Of course I ate it." Chin Yong chuckled lightly, got up and looked at Amanda, and said, "You can't do it like this, since you are sincere. Only with sincerity can the ship spirit be born, just like Benlong, the guardian, you believe in it. Then protect you. If you do not believe, then go your own way." Quote. Ship spirits are probably also considered mysterious powers. If they meet them, Chin Yong doesn't mind trying to absorb them. Maybe they can be used to raise stars. As for guarding things, Chin Yong didn't have the leisure to be a nanny, he just said something casually. "Anyway, as long as the 9 snake pirates don't die, no one can do anything to them. Anyway, thank you for your hospitality. Benlong has something else to do. See you later." Chin Yong waved his hand, ate and drank, turned around and was ready to leave. The lock of prisoners. At this moment, a long pink whip came and grabbed Chin Yang's wrist. The Empress grabbed the other end of the pink whip and snorted softly. "This time, the concubine will not let you escape. Follow the concubine back to Maiden Island and go to the prison to repent." Hearing this, Chin Yong sneered, "Do you think you can catch me a second time with this alone?" Hearing this, the Empress' face froze. She also found it strange that this move was unexpected, and it was really useful, but how could this stupid dragon be unprepared? "So what?" The Empress snorted coldly, glaring at Chin Yong with beautiful eyes, and said, "If you use the same tricks as last time, the concubine won't be hit again." Thinking of the last time she was attacked on the chest and kissed again, she was annoyed for a while. This stupid dragon is so daring. "Ha ha ha, you arrest me now, don't you just want to do it again?" Chin Yong laughed isho, and then waved his hand, and his whole body turned into a black mist that slowly drifted away. "Goodbye, little Lady Empress." "No, don't say goodbye, I don't believe it. In the vast sea, can we meet for a third time? The voice gradually became ethereal, and finally faded away completely. And Qin Yang's figure disappeared without a trace. Lord Patronus. A group of crew members stared blankly. You stupid dragon. The Empress was so angry that her chest heaved and she actually watched this guy leave again. Eat and drink and leave, when this is a restaurant. Sister, calm down. Sandersonia couldn't help shaking her head. This time I can't chase it anymore. I haven't been back to Maiden Island for a long time, and it's almost New Year's, so I have to go back. Hearing this, the Empress gritted her teeth, and after a while, she could only reluctantly agree. Not to mention the complicated mood of the Empress, Qin Yang was very happy. He was full of food and drink, so he immediately flashed the food. Going all the way, Qin Yang didn't stop until he opened a long distance. Let's ascend to the star first. I'd like to see, in which direction will the transformation of Shadow Demon, a non-combat specialty, be strengthened. Thinking of this, Qin Yang immediately did it. He called out the lantern Ankang, took out 2 fruits from the box that the opponent spit out, and then absorbed them. Immediately, the mysterious power nourishes the cells, and Qin Yang's sea dragon transformation is lifted, directly transforming into a shadow demon. Not only that, but this time, the black aura emanating from the shadow demon was getting stronger and stronger. Seems that the entire 500-degree sea surface is to be dyed black. From a distance, it seems that there is a dark area above the sea surface. It's just that this change didn't last long, and it was over in 3 minutes. At the same time, in Qin Yang's mind, the information about the shadow demon changed. Second variation, Shadow Demon. Star rating. Ability 1, Shadow Stream Control. Ability 2, Space Jump. Ability 3, Black Sky. Is this the end? Qin Yang was stunned. I'm used to the big scenes of sea dragons and archangels when they evolve and ascend to stars, and the small-scale anomalies of shadow demons are really unaccustomed. However, he quickly turned his attention to the third ability. Dark Sky. As soon as the thought moved, Qin Yang immediately tried to use it. The moment he activated this ability, Qin Yang felt that the world suddenly darkened. The sun disappeared, and the sky that was originally night suddenly became night. This is not a small change, but the whole world. No matter which corner of Pirate Planet is located, everyone in the world has seen the coming of the black sky at this moment. This is almost impossible. The planet is round, and half of it is night, and half of it must be day. But the Shadow Demon's third ability directly ignored this natural law, causing the entire planet to experience a moment of darkness. Darkness comes. At this moment, Marine, who was still dealing with the battlefield on Cake Island, fell into a sluggish state. Sengoku raised his head and stared blankly at the pitch-black sky, unable to return to his senses for a long time. Is it a dream again? Chapter 0209_Terrified Marine. Is it a dream again? Sengoku looked up and stared blankly at the night. The night came suddenly, but he was sure that it was not his dazzling eyes, but in an instant, the whole sky darkened. The sky that used to be at night suddenly turned into night. Light created by the Archangel that was enough to cover half of the world. Sengoku had a shuddering feeling. This, Suru Vice Admiral couldn't help but say, could it be that in the dream, there is another master-level cadre? Is he the last ruler of the earth? It has to be doubtful, and even has this certainty in his heart. Sengoku's face was very ugly. I'm afraid that the new master will be stronger than the Sea Dragon and the Archangel. No, I have to report this to the top first, and you continue to deal with the endgame. With that said, he returned to the cabin in a resolute manner. On the side, Garp's expression was solemn, and the expansion of the dream was getting faster and faster. If the 3 dominant level cadres shot at the same time, he didn't know what other forces in the world could stop them. I'm afraid, only the Holy Land can have a trace of safety. What's more, Dream is not only the 3 dominant cadres, but also various members with strange abilities, as well as the deputy captain who has not yet appeared, and the Captain Chindi who easily destroyed the Big Mom pirate group. Really, the evil party is already powerful, and in the future, this situation may be even worse. This is much more troublesome than the Whitebeard pirates and the Roger pirates. The whole world fell into darkness, and darkness fell. It was a night area itself, and it was nothing but those places that used to be early in the morning and in the daytime suddenly became night, which immediately caused panic. Of course, Qin couldn't see these panics. He was studying the changes of the Samsung Shadow Demon. First of all, there is the new ability of Haitian. In the past, Shadow Demons had a big drawback and could not be used during the day. To be precise, they could only last for a few minutes during the day, but this time the dark sky directly turned the whole world into night. It can be said that Shadow Demons can be used anytime, anywhere, or ready to use. The transformation of non-combat expertise, the direction of star enhancement, is to make up for the deficiency. Qin thought to himself, it should be more than this. The dark sky can turn the whole world into dark night, except for the convenience of Shadow Demons, there is no other effect. If you think about it, it's not very useful to let the whole world fall into the night, if only on the surface. Let's try other changes. Thinking of this, Qin immediately closed his eyes. Immediately, a starry sky map appeared. Not only that, but this time the starry sky map was twice as large as before. In the past, on the edge of the star map, the light of the star points would suddenly disappear, as if it had been cut off by someone, but this time, all the star points were normal, as if they included all human beings all over the world. Among the countless stars, Qin saw Sengoku at a glance, and easily found Big Mom. Huh. Suddenly, Qin let out a light hum. He focused his consciousness on the star point representing Sengoku, and actually sees what Sengoku is doing. The other party is holding a phone bug, sitting in the captain's room, talking with the world government. Predict. Gee. The whole world is in darkness. Sengoku looked surprised. The phone, Kong's voice came. Yes, I received reports from all over the world. 5 minutes ago, almost at the same time, the whole world became a state of darkness. I took a deep breath, and Sengoku said with shock, the character that appears this time, I'm afraid. I'm afraid it's not the ruler of the earth that I guessed before. Possibly more terrifying characters. I can't tell if it's caused by a dream. Kong interrupted and said, don't panic. We were too lazy before. From today, we must take certain measures against dreams. Since we cannot simply destroy them, then, first of all, we must master their intelligence. Well. Sengoku nodded blankly. What's wrong? Kong Sora asked with a frown, noticing Sengoku's abnormality. It's okay, it's just I feel like a pair of eyes are watching me. Sengoku shook his head, it's my illusion. Observation Haki didn't find anything unusual. Hearing this, Qin retracted his gaze. He said to himself with surprise on his face, what a powerful ability, is this the black sky? The feeling is to spy on the target from the perspective of God. The shadow demons in the past couldn't do such a thing. Thinking like this, he tried to see Big Mom again, but the existence of the dream world still blocked his prying eyes. It seems that other spaces cannot be spied on. Qin understood. Next, he tried the rest of the star points, and soon had a simple understanding. Under the shroud of darkness, he can not only travel through space, but also observe the target person from the perspective of God. There are two cases here. The first is that Qin doesn't know anything about the target. For example, East Blue is a person who can't be named. Qin can't peep at each other for a long time, at most a few seconds, this connection will be cut off. The second is the characters selected as targets, such as Sengoku and the Bald Man. Qin knows their names and understands them. Therefore, it can be said that from the perspective of God, he can see everything clearly, and can maintain for a long time, at least 5 minutes without a problem. What a special 3-star ability. Qin couldn't help but muttered in surprise. Like the Sea Dragon and the Archangel, the star rating increase must be the strengthening of the combat power, but the Shadow Demon is completely different, and the ability has become even more strange. However, this is a good thing for him. The combat power is easy to solve, and it is completely sufficient at present, but this special ability is very rare. Thinking of this, Qin was going to try Space Shuttle. Just as he selected a target and was about to jump over, a series of voices sounded in his mind. Shadow Demon. Master Shadow Demon. Shadow Demon Savior. Male voices, female voices, old people, children, countless calls sounded. These voices came from all directions, from the stars in the star map. This is... Qin was stunned for a moment, and immediately shut down the messy voices. What's the situation? Someone is calling me. He thought calmly, and then he turned on the reception of voices. Soon, he could distinguish the result from these voices. These callers are all people who know his name. They may regard the Shadow Demon as a savior, or an admirer, or more likely, just at this point in time, whispering his name. It turns out that it's because of the name, Shadow Demon, so I feel it. It's like being summoned. His eyes flashed, and Qin suddenly became interested. I didn't expect the Shadow Demon to become so famous. Since that's the case, I want to see what people are talking about me. Thinking of this, Qin chose a summon, and his consciousness invaded a certain point of light. Then, a sense of dizziness came, and the world changed. West Blue, a small town called Happy Town, is a very remote place, so remote that there is no marine base nearby. On the avenue of the town, there is a casino. In a dim lounge in the casino, an 18-year-old girl was sitting in front of a candle, looking at a book. The book is from the Great Route. Its owner used to be a pirate captain. He was also famous in West Blue at the beginning. However, after half a year of going into the Great Route, the pirate captain who was famous in West Blue turned into a corpse. Brought back by the crew. And this book is the captain's thing. It is a note written by him, which records all the magical stories he has seen and heard. The chapter the little girl is reading is titled, Shadow Demon. At first, the little girl didn't care, but the more she looked down, the more frightened she became. Shadow pirates, from the mysterious dream pirates, with a bounty 500 million. Once alone, infiltrated the holy place of Mariajoy, assassinated a Tenryubito, causing the wrath of the world government, but until I wrote it down on the day of the note, the Shadow Demon is still safe and sound. It is. The little girl read the contents of the notes, and her tone couldn't help but tremble a little. Tenryubito dares to assassinate. And the reward of 500 million is so terrifying. In West Blue, the highest reward is only tens of millions, and it has not reached 100 million. 500 million is an astronomical figure. At this moment, the candlelight flickered, and a wisp of black smoke rose from the dimly lit room. The black smoke appeared behind the little girl and slowly condensed into a dark figure. Who is calling me? A deep and distant voice suddenly sounded. The little girl turned back suddenly, her face full of surprise. Chapter-201-220 The Son of the Devil. The first update tilde the update in the early morning. Don't you have a few automatics? Oh, hollow square. Oh. Who is calling me? The billowing black smoke appeared out of thin air, condensing into a dark figure. On the face of the figure, only a pair of eyes can be seen. At this moment, these eyes are watching the 18-year-old girl in front of him. You are. The little girl turned around suddenly, her face full of shock. If it weren't for her wandering around in the dark world all the year round, her psychological quality is far beyond that of ordinary people, she would have screamed at this moment. However, for this reason, she also felt a shock in her heart, and a small heart was beating non-stop. She was very nervous. This strange character was so similar to the pirate depicted in the captain's notes. Huh. Qin raised his eyebrows and said approvingly, the psychological quality is good. Are you a shadow demon? The little girl was surprised. The whole body is pitch black, emitting black smoke many times, all over the body. Only one pair of eyes can be seen. You are a shadow demon. 500 million big pirates dared to sneak into the Holy Land alone and kill Tenryubito. Big pirate. Chinyong chuckled. I'm just a dream errand. You can treat me like a messenger. But you always feel a little familiar. Chinyong thought to himself that the little girl in front of her was beautiful, tall, with delicate facial features, especially a high nose bridge, which was very exotic. This is not to say that Chinyong felt familiar when he saw a pretty girl, but it was really familiar. Aren't you afraid of me? Chinyong asked softly after looking at it for a while. I'm afraid. The little girl took a deep breath. You came from the Great Root. How did you come here? There is no place in the world that I cannot go to. Shadow Demon, are you the captain of the Dream Pirates? I said, I'm just a messenger, running errands. Running errands. Little girl was stunned. 500 million big pirates ran errands. What kind of pirate group is this Dream? It can be so luxurious. Seeing this, Chinyong couldn't help but be amused and said jokingly, what's your name? Summon me here. I can make a deal with you. As long as you pay the price, I can help you kill anyone. But if nothing happens, call me casually. I have no choice but to kill you. The little girl's body froze, and she subconsciously touched a dagger on her waist. I didn't mean to summon you, and I don't know how. I just read the captain's notebook. She gritted her teeth. My name is Cora Robin. It was you. Chinyong was stunned, and then suddenly said, no wonder it looks familiar. O'Hara's survivor, Nicole Robin. As soon as these words came out, Nico Robin's complexion changed greatly, and a face suddenly turned pale. She quickly pulled out the dagger from her waist, backed away, and blocked the dagger in front of her. You're here for me, Nicole Robin said defensively. Don't be nervous, I have no ill will. Chinyong shook his head, walked to the table beside him, took an apple from it, took a bite, and then said, it's no good to catch you. Marine only gave a bounty of 79 million yuan. For this amount of money, I'm here. New World shoots a pirate casually, and it is worth more than you. Quote. Hearing this, Nicole Robin still looked nervous, and the dagger in her hand didn't mean to put it down. When she was young, she was offered a reward of 79 million by Marine. This amount, in West Blue, can be said to be one of the highest. Moreover, the life of escape all these years has also made her not easily trust anyone. The two stared at each other, the atmosphere stiff. Suddenly, Chinyong said, someone is here. After he finished speaking, he puffed and disappeared into a cloud of black smoke. Nico Robin's face was startled, and then she heard the sound of gate of opening. The person who came was a young man in a suit, who looked like a thug. Cola, it's your turn to work. The man said solemnly. Someone in the casino won 8 million and is going to run away. You go and get the money back. Hearing this, Nicole Robin recovered and quickly put away the dagger. I see. Hurry up, that man is leaving soon. The man warned uneasy, then closed the door and left. Huh. Nicole Robin breathed a sigh of relief. It seemed that the other party did not hear her conversation with the shadow demon, otherwise the name of Nicole Robin would be exposed, and she would have to continue to flee. Are you betting as a thug? Suddenly, the shadow demon's voice sounded again, and the black smoke condensed into a human figure. Since you were young, have you been on the run? Nicole Robin was startled. She found that the shadow demon appeared behind her. You didn't leave. She said in shock. I won't be caught easily. As I said, I'm not interested in your bounty. Chinyong rolled his eyes. Don't say 79 million, it's 700 million, I'm not interested in catching you. Besides, I won't deal with Marine. Only then that Nico Robin remembered that the shadow demon had once killed Tenryubito, and the relationship with Marine was of course how bad it was. Thinking of this, she had no choice but to say, Ying Yao, I just have no intention of summoning you, and I don't have anyone I want to kill. Can you leave? She decided that as soon as the shadow demon left, she would run away. However, Chin Yang could clearly see what she was thinking, and immediately said with a smile, "It's hard to live a life of escape like this, isn't it?" "Huh. Would you like to come to our dream?" Chin Yang grinned. "Of course, it's just a member of the periphery. He usually helps us with some trivial matters." Pause, he added. "Don't worry, as long as you have a dream label on your body, no force in the world will dare to touch you. Whether it's Tenryubito, Marine, or the world government." "Do you know what you're talking about?" Nicole Robin said with a shocked face. "The one who wants me is the world government. There are more than 170 affiliated countries in the world. The one who wants me to die is the largest in the world. Power. So what?" Chin Yang said casually. "Our dream subordinates, even a pig is more expensive than Tenryubito. For you, the world government may be too large and despairing, but for my dream, it is the same." After hearing this, Nico Robin couldn't recover for a long time. This is the first time she has met such an organization. Any pirate group she has met in the past, once they know the name of Son of the Devil, either throws it away like garbage, or wants to catch him and collect the bounty. Like a dream, he directly ignores the existence of the world government, let alone encounters, he has never even heard of it. The world is very big, think about it. Chin Yang chuckled. "Of course, if you refuse, I can only destroy your humanity. You call me here and let me run for nothing, I have to sacrifice your blood." With a mocking mood, he scared the little girl. Of course, Chin Yang won't really kill Nicole Robin, who is one of the only people in the world who can read ancient texts. Chin Yang invited the other party to join him as a peripheral clerk, also for the purpose of being able to use it. As the dream's existence becomes stronger and stronger, there will be more trivial matters in the future. He can't always do everything himself, and he needs a character who can take care of things a little bit. The bald guy is not very reliable, Nicole Robin is much better. While he was thinking, Nicole Robin was thinking too. However, her thinking was carried out when her mind was blank, and she was basically stunned by Chin Yang's words. After a while, she bit her lower lip and spoke in a low voice. "I'm willing to do anything as long as I can live." Chapter 0211-3 Emperors and 1 Emperor. As long as I can live, I'm willing to do anything tilde. Hearing this rather ambiguous sentence, Chin Yang couldn't help but look weird. He said this as if he was a bad person, although he was not a good person. "I just need you to do the chores and help me and wait for the dream to do some trivial things." Chin Yang shook his head and said, "Since you want to be sheltered by me, I will give you a test first." Test. Nicole Robin opened her mouth. She knew that there are some forces. When a newcomer joins, they need to do something to use it as a certificate of submission. "Relax, it's not difficult," Chin Yang said calmly. "In the first half of the Great Route, there is a water city called 7 Waters City. You start from West Blue and arrive there alive, even if it is a test for you." To the Great Route. Nicole Robin gritted her teeth. This is not a simple matter. The owner of this notebook in her hand, this pirate captain, is very famous in West Blue. After entering the Great Route, it only took half a year to become a pirate. Corpse. Chin Yang was too lazy to speak, and when he waved his hand, his body began to slowly dissipate. The time is 1 month. No matter what method you use, if you reach the 7 waters within a month, you will be considered qualified. What he needs is a capable and wise subordinate, not a nanny. If he can't even do this little thing, Chin Yang will give up Nicole Robin. There are many candidates, but Nicole Robin just happened to be met. West Blue to the capital of 7 waters in 1 month, and even for many experts, it was not a problem to hurry. But for the child of the devil, it is very challenging. Taking a deep breath, Nicole Robin made a decision immediately. "I know, within a month, I'll be there." Although she didn't even know where the 7 waters were, she still agreed. Since it's a test, it's better than letting her kill someone. Chin Yang was quite satisfied with this attitude. His body gradually faded away, completely dispersing into a cloud of black smoke. This test is very dangerous for you. If you encounter a crisis, you can call my name and I can appear at any time. But once you call me, I will consider you to have failed the test, and then... Nico Robin didn't hear the next words clearly, and the voice had disappeared. But needless to say, she can also guess that calling the shadow demon might save her once, but it also means that her test fails, and she may even be blood sacrifice by this murderer. What a tough rule. Nico Robin confirmed that the shadow demon disappeared, and she let out a light breath. City of Seven Waters. Dream. For a while, her thoughts were confused, and after a while, she put away the dagger and went out. First of all, she has to solve the last task of the casino tonight. This place has given her a few months of peace. Before leaving, she will do her last job, which is a beginning and an end. A new world, a sea somewhere. Qinyang slowly opened his eyes, and in the blink of an eye, he had returned to his original place from West Blue, which could be said to have traveled half a planet in an instant. His body was like smoke, floating on the sea. Little girl, I gave you a chance. However, the capital of Seven Waters, that is the place that Marine has been keeping an eye on. There are drawings related to Hades hidden there. Once you arrive there, if you are not careful, you will be discovered by Marine. What will you do? Qinyang said to himself curiously. He deliberately gave this test just to see what Nicole Robin could do. Being wanted by the world government and fleeing for 10 years without being caught, Nicole Robin must have her own means. After a month, it will naturally come to an end. With a chuckle, Qinyang didn't care much. He closed his eyes again and immersed himself in the starry sky map. As soon as consciousness entered here, there were countless calls immediately. Continue to the next one. Anyway, 1 day's forced transformation period, just experiment with new abilities. After the original transformation, a 1-day mandatory transformation period will start. Next, Qinyang selected a target with the loudest voice and made a space jump again. Not to mention Qinyang's ability to experiment on his own, Cake Island, Marine's battlefield cleaning has come to an end. After a war, most of the 20,000 pirates were suppressed by Qinyang and died. Some were lucky and didn't die, but were caught by Marine. Only a few pirates escaped this big net. At this moment, at the port of Cake Island, a group of pirates knelt down on the ice, and the leaders were the most eye-catching. Stormfruit ability, Captain of the Storm Pirates, K-Doc. Ancient species of black-haired giant ape fruit, the Captain of the Unicorn Pirates, Andy Poland. After the 2 heavyweight roles, there are more pirate captains, each of whom is a famous pirate in the New World. Akainu glanced at the group of pirates, then looked at Sengoku, and said, the captain and vice-captain of the Lance Pirates, the captain of the Unicorn Pirates, etc., these people ran away. Hearing this, Sengoku's face could not be seen as happy or angry. This operation has been successful. These pirates are all imprisoned in the deep-sea prison. The deep-sea prison, the strongest in the world, is known as a prison with absolute defense, and more than 100,000 prisoners are detained in it. Of course, this was in the past. Since the Lich King went to make a scene, a lot of empty cells were vacated, just to detain this group of people. And when he heard this, Andy Poland, who was covered in injuries, sneered and said, Sengoku, you will regret it. Joining forces with Dream to deal with us can only show your Marine's incompetence. What do you know? Sengoku snorted coldly. Do you think your sister will be safe if she escapes? She has a huge bounty on her head. After there is no unicorn pirates, countless bounty hunters in the world will be eyeing her. He. Andy Poland laughed twice. Sengoku, you dare not catch Nini, or you won't let her escape. Now that she's gone, the unicorns are scattered, you Marines not staring at a little girl. There was something in his words, as if he knew Sengoku for a long time. Hearing this, Sengoku's face turned ashen. Just heard Andy shouting, the Chaos Sea will only be more chaotic without a few of our forces to suppress. Do you think you can suppress the runaway New World? Impossible. Next, we will enter a new era. 3 Emperors 1 Emperor's New Era. Sengoku, you Marines will definitely regret it. Ha 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 ha. There are as many pirates in the New World, and their unicorns are only showing their prestige in the chaotic sea, but in the 4 Emperor seas, hidden in the pirate group under the command of the 4 Emperors, there are more than 1 or 2 characters who can compare to them. With the 4 Emperors missing a corner, will these careerists betray the 3 Emperors and establish themselves as kings? What's more, in addition to the 3 Emperors, there is also the dreamy Qin Emperor. This time, Mengmeng only dispatched a dominant cadre, and set off a huge wave. No matter how you think, this group of murderers is not a role of keeping their own feet. You'll regret it. At the end, Andy sneered and looked at each other with pity. Sengoku was so angry that he snorted coldly, "Take him to the command ship and detain him alone." Yes. Several Marines immediately took action. Looking at this scene calmly, K-Doc let out a low smile without a trace. New Era, 3 Emperors 1 Emperor. Chapter-201-220 Blackbeard. In the 3rd update, there are people who suspect that there are no female readers in this book. Let me tell you clearly, there are still some, but not many. 2333. The Battle of Cake Island ended in a riotous pirate defeat. More than 100 pirate groups, 3 major forces, and more than 20,000 pirates were all suppressed. And there was only one person who made the move. Sky Ruler, Archangel. This news, in just a day or two, spread throughout the New World. Countless people have obtained relevant information, especially Marine's release of a series of arrest lists and the revocation of tens of thousands of bounty orders, which really shocked countless forces. New World, the Whitebeard Sea, the deck of the Moby Dick. Whitebeard listened to the report of his subordinates, and his face was also very heavy. The above is probably the whole process. Marco whispered. The person who shot, claims to be one of the 3 leaders of the Dream Pirates, the Sky Master, Archangel. The ability used is a kind of holy light. 2 specific details, even he can't know, but the general situation can still be figured out, such as the special power of holy light. So it seems that some time ago, the cloud of holy light that covered half of the world was because of this person. Whitebeard nodded and laughed suddenly. Goolalala, it's unexpected to join forces with Marine. No one expected it. Dad, Diamond Jozu couldn't help but say, if Dream and Marine join forces and target our Whitebeard pirates next, the situation will get tricky. Are we going to take some measures? If it's just Marine, their Whitebeard pirates are completely true, but with a Dream, it's incredible. Don't worry, the 2 of them are just empty and condescending, each taking what they need. I'm afraid there is some kind of deal in it. Whitebeard haha Isho. Sengoku made a mistake this time. He wanted to use the prestige of fantasy to suppress the riotous Big Mom Sea area. Indeed, with this big event, the Big Mom Sea area will be stable for the time being, but the chaos if the sea area loses its head, I am afraid it will be even more chaotic. Quote. Let's be chaotic, it won't affect us anyway. Another cadre said indifferently. This person is the captain of the 4th Division, Thatch. Behind Thatch, an ugly man with thick hair and a burly figure sank. His name is Blackbeard. Are the 3 major forces destroyed? Suddenly, he whispered, Captain Thatch. Huh. Thatch is a man with a pompadour hairstyle. He has a straightforward personality. He didn't think much of it when he heard the questions from his teammates, and replied directly, It's not enough that the entire army is wiped out. The captain and deputy captain of the Lance Pirates ran dropped. Barely saved a little face. Where's the unicorn? Blackbeard asked again. The unicorn's captain, Andy Poland, has been arrested and is estimated to have been escorted to the deep-sea prison. The co-captain, Andy's sister, seems to have run away. There are some lucky people in the rest, but they are nothing. Hearing the words, Andy's sister, Blackbeard's eyes flashed, but he said, Marine won a hand this time, but they didn't dare to provoke our Whitebeard pirates. See. At the same time, he was muttering in his heart a name, Nini Polish. %. When all forces in the world learned about the Cake Island battle, they all reacted. This incident revealed two pieces of information. First, the Big Mom pirates were destroyed by the Dreamy Chin Emperor. Second, the Dream Pirates have three major cadres, each of whom has the combat power of the four emperors. Either one, it's not good news for everyone else. I thought that Big Mom was missing, and everyone had the opportunity to compete for the title of the new four emperors, but in front of the one emperor, no one dared to stretch out their claws again. Almost no one has seen Emperor Qin, but Emperor Qin's prestige is like a big mountain, suppressing the New World, making people afraid to take action against the Big Mom Sea area. And at the same time that all parties are related, the New World starts with Mysteria, one of the three islands. The stronghold of the Don Quixote family is like the top floor of a cathedral-like building. In one of the reception rooms, Qin Yang sat on the sofa with Erlang's legs crossed, waiting quietly. A week has passed since the Battle of Cake Island. Qin Yang came here as a nine-tailed demon fox after the forced transformation period ended. At this moment, he is sitting on the sofa, opposite to the second of the four leaders of the Don Quixote pirates. The top cadre of the Plum Blossom Army, Toripal, a sloppy man wearing a quilt cape, holding a cane with the Plum Blossom logo, and wearing a pair of small sunglasses. The other is the Army of Spades, the highest cadre, Pika, a person with stone and stone fruit ability, wearing armor, wearing a cross-face helmet, and a tall and strong man. Looking at the two of them, Qin Yang said impatiently, "Doflamingo hasn't come back yet." Hey Nine Tails, Dover is dealing with the intelligence agency being targeted. Toripal's voice was thin, and he spoke weakly, with a runny nose and a sloppy look. "My name is Ju Yi." Qin Yang snorted softly. "Yesterday said that today will definitely come, let Juya wait for him, is he impatient?" Just as he was talking, a laughter came. Sorry, I was a little stumped by something." Boom. The door was pushed open, and Doflamingo walked in with 28 steps. "The great pirate Lance retaliated against my intelligence agency, and destroyed several strongholds in the chaotic sea area. As soon as he entered the door, he explained, they moved very fast and I didn't catch the tail, so I had to come back." "What's wrong with me?" Qin Yang raised his eyebrows. Don't say that, this matter is really related to you." Doflamingo chuckled, "I found a few interesting things through the intelligence network in the past few days." "Say." "The first one is that the Lance Pirates are brooding about the dark organization that sold false information before, and secretly seek revenge while inquiring about the dream situation. Your shadow demons have been running around recently, and they are also running around with them. It seems that he wants to use the shadow demon as a breakthrough." A few days ago, Qin Yang had just upgraded the shadow demon, and he continued to familiarize himself with the new abilities. In one day, he had gone to hundreds of places at least. Naturally, it is not surprising that information has spread. "Ninth Master, I'm not interested in such trivial matters." Qin Yang waved his hand and said, "I'm looking for you because I want to ask you something." "Huh?" "The deputy captain of the Unicorn Pirates, Nini Poland." Qin Yang said calmly, "Where is she now?" "This is the second thing I have to say." Doflamingo grinned. "Her toy fruit has 6 rather peculiar toy forms, a big bear, a big dog, a big bird, a mouse, a chick, and the last form that I don't even know about." After a pause, he added, "Among the 6 major forms, the mouse refers to the treasure-hunting mouse. This ability must be very attractive to you." The treasure-hunting mouse, this is what Qin Yang only recently knew, otherwise he would not have ignored Nini Polan at that time. If he had known that there was such a person, he would have caught it first. Treasure mouse, of toy fruit, it is really convenient to find devil fruit 2.6. "Do you have information on her?" Qin Yang asked. "Yes." Doflamingo lowered his voice and said, "A few days ago, about the 4th day after the end of the Battle of Cake Island, Blackbeard, a member of the 4th Division of the Whitebeard Pirates, had a contact with Nini Poland. Not only that, Blackbeard is in contact with the vice captain of the Lance Pirates. Hearing this, Chinyong was stunned, raised his eyebrows and said, Blackbeard. This guy is just around the corner, what does he want to do? Don't ask, he can guess. Nini Poland lost the shelter of the Unicorn Pirates, and there must be many people who are eyeing her. Treasure Mouse, for example, Chinyong himself is one of them. And Blackbeard looked for it. I am afraid that he wanted to use this ability to find the dark fruit. It's interesting, this guy moves fast. Chinyong chuckled lightly and said, however, that little girl, I am afraid that she will make a special request. Doflamingo, you are staring at Marine's prison ship. I am afraid there will be a good show in the last few days. Chapter 0213 _ It's none of my business. First update. Regarding the previous chapter, the title is a bit wrong. Now it's 10 years of the plot. No, 9 years ago, most people called Blackbeard and Diki. Close black lens bracket. Blackbeard, whose full name is Marshall D. Ticky, belongs to the 4th Division of the Whitebeard Pirates. This person is an ambitious man who has been hiding in the Whitebeard Pirates in order to obtain Logia's most vicious fruit, the secret fruit. Hearing the news of Blackbeard's contact with Nini Poland, Chinyang's first reaction was that this person wanted to find the dark fruit through the treasure mouse. Thinking about how to intervene, Chinyang fell silent for a while. Keep an eye on the prison ship. Doflamingo frowned. What do you mean? Are you out of your mind? Chinyang glanced at him, shook his head and said, Nini Poland's brother was arrested and is now being escorted by the prison ship to the deep-sea prison. If you were her, when Blackbeard came to the door and wanted to use the ability of the treasure hunter, what would you ask for a deal? Save people, Doflamingo suddenly said. So that's the case Furfurfur, but it's not realistic. As one of the felons, the prison ship that escorted Andy Poland must have more than 3 vice-admiral guards, maybe even admiral. Diki is just a team member, not Whitebeard's cadre, so he doesn't have that much combat power and can intercept ships and save people. If it is a cadre of the Whitebeard Pirates, there may be a little hope of success, but a mere member of the team can't help but be a little whimsical. Moreover, even if it is a cadre, it is difficult to be an opponent of Admiral one-on-one. The only way is to pray that there is no admiral escort on the prison ship. He. Hearing this, Chinyang couldn't help laughing. You can talk to Red Hair about this. Huh, Doflamingo was startled. Is there something wrong? Redhead has 3 scars on his left eye. Chinyang said. Once, he had a battle with Blackbeard. At that time, Redhead's right arm was not broken. It was not careless, nor was it a sneak attack. How is this possible? Doflamingo said in astonishment. That guy has such strength. The rise of the red hair is very fast, and the growth of strength is also quite rapid. From the dissolution of the Roger Pirates to the time he became the 4 emperors, it only took 10 years. What's impossible? Chinyang said calmly. 10 years later, Blackbeard will become the 4th emperor, and he will succeed Whitebeard as the 4th emperor. Wait, let me think about it. Doflamingo held his forehead, frowning in thought. The red-haired left eye is indeed injured. Judging from the marks of the wound, is it a claw weapon? Marshall D. Ticky used it in the Whitebeard Pirates. Left paw. If you think about it, it's really possible. Although he doesn't pay much attention to Blackbeard, and this person's presence in the Whitebeard Pirates is also very thin, since he is under Whitebeard, Doflamingo still has intelligence gathering. What's the point of you thinking here? Why don't you just keep an eye on the prison ship? They'll do it soon if it's all right. Chinyang chuckled lightly and said, besides, whether he is strong or weak, it doesn't make any difference to Juyi and me. Okay, I'll let someone do it. Doflamingo nodded and added, also, I got a lot of things from cleaning the battlefield. I'll get them over immediately, you can count them. Saying that, he turned to leave. The top cadre Pika also followed out without saying a word, and after a while, Pika walked in with a large box in one hand. It's the booty, he said succinctly. Phantom, scan it. Qin Yang nodded and ordered in his heart. Immediately, an invisible force swept across, and after a while, the answer from Fantasy Gene sounded in my mind. Scanned mysterious power. The number is 1, very weak. Qin Yang was stunned for a moment, and suddenly became interested. He opened the box and searched among the piles of loot. It took 5 minutes before he finally found the target. It was a pocket watch, very old, nothing fancy. Can it be absorbed? Qin Yang asked in his heart. Yes, but the mysterious power it contains is less than 1/5 of a devil fruit. That's it. Qin Yang was suddenly speechless. It is not a devil fruit, but something with mysterious power. This is the second time he has seen it. The last time was a jade box on Fishman Island. His 9-tailed demon fox transformed into a jade box that he absorbed and opened. I don't know what's the use of this thing. After looking at it for a while, Qin Yang couldn't find anything unusual, so he put it away for the time being. Then, he looked at Pika and said, "Is there an auction house under Doflamingo? These are all sold and exchanged for money." Good. Pika was silent for a long time before nodding. Next, Qin Yang asked the two to leave, while he sat on the sofa and continued to think about what he was holding. The outer layer of the pocket watch is golden, and the inside is a mechanical structure. He even disassembled this thing, but still found nothing strange. Forget it, keep it for now, maybe one day I'll figure it out. Shaking his head, Qin Yang put away the pocket watch, then closed his eyes and squinted for a nap. The next day, early in the morning, Doflamingo hurriedly pushed open the door of the room with a look of surprise on his face. 9 tails, there is information. Qin Yang sat on a futon, and when he heard this, he slowly opened his eyes. My name is Juya, he said slowly. It's a big event. Doflamingo rarely showed a solemn expression. Your guess is wrong. No, it's not just you. No one expected this to happen. What information? Qin Yang raised his eyebrows, still very calm. Andy Poland is gone. Doflamingo took a deep breath and said, I have an eyeliner inside Marine, and the outside world has yet to know this information. Before the prison ship left the New World waters, Andy Poland, who was detained on the ship, disappeared mysteriously. There was no sign of battle, and the guarding seamen didn't notice anything unusual, but when they went to deliver meals in the morning, they found that the cell was empty. Hearing this, Qin Yang couldn't help but startled. What did the Blackbeard do? It's not like that. If Blackbeard has this ability, he will not need to go to the deep-sea prison to recruit his subordinates with great fanfare in the future. Just as he was thinking, the sound of purr-puff suddenly sounded. Qin Yang took out the phone bug from his pocket and answered it calmly. Did you do it? Dream. As soon as the phone was connected, Sengoku's growl came from the other end. None of my business. Qin Yang snorted softly and said, Ninth Master, I want to intercept people, and I will sink your prison ship in a fair and honest way. Apart from you, who else in the world can do this? Sengoku was furious, but his reason was still there. No, how do you know? This matter has just been confirmed. Nine-tailed demon fox, let your Emperor Qin come and follow, I explain. The captain is busy and has no time to take care of you. It's because you are too incompetent. You can't even escort you well. Don't think that you can repay your debt, or Juya I will tear down your headquarters. Qin 640 Yang was too lazy to explain to him, so he hung up immediately after he finished speaking. Just after hanging up the phone, he couldn't help but wonder, this kind of ability to save people without knowing it, not Blackbeard, who could it be? Some kind of space-based fruit ability. Door Fruit might do it, but the Door Fruit ability person is someone from the Marine Intelligence Organization. Or is it other similar abilities? Qin Yang thought for a while, then suddenly got up and walked to the window. Doflamingo, I'm going to deal with something. You continue to keep an eye on it, and if there is any situation, report to me. As soon as the voice fell, the demon fox coat flashed around Qin Yang's body, and then he jumped out of the window and disappeared in an instant. Andy was rescued, it had nothing to do with him, and he didn't care. It's just that this happened, that Blackbeard wouldn't take action, so he would have to find another way to find Nini Poland. Take a little effort and let the shadow demon go to Blackbeard directly. After a few dodges, Chinyong left the town and hid in the jungle. Then he changed his body and turned into a ghost. The next moment, the dark sky came, and the whole world fell into darkness. Blackbeard, Marshall D. Titch, age 29, burly, ugly. Consciousness immersed in the starry sky map, Chinyang's eyes swept through the countless star points, looking at them one by one, constantly searching for the target person. This search took 5 or 6 hours before he finally found the star point representing Blackbeard. This means that the star points of Blackbeard are brighter, otherwise it is really difficult to handle. Found it. Vivi Isho, Chinyang's consciousness approached, and then a sense of dizziness came. When he opened his eyes again, he was already behind Blackbeard. Chapter 0214 The Mere Rat Generation Dares to Speak Up. Second, someone asked, why not go to Nini Poland directly? The shadow demon is looking for someone. The brighter the target star, the easier it is to find. Compared with Blackbeard, Nini's brightness is much lower, so it is difficult to find. By the way, the easiest ones to find are the 4 emperors, Sengoku, Gorosei, 5 elders. A person of status, power, and fame. Close black lens bracket. Found it. Chinyang Vivi Isho, consciousness immediately approached the star point representing Blackbeard, and a slight dizziness came immediately. The world changed, and when he opened his eyes again, Chinyang appeared behind Blackbeard. This is a small restaurant. There are only a few people sitting in the restaurant. Blackbeard is sitting in front of the bar, eating a bowl of fried rice. What happened today? It got dark once a few days ago, and it got dark again today. Who knows, it's been 5 or 6 hours and it's still like this. Could it be someone with power? Or is the sun about to explode? The end of the world? Several diners chatted with each other across the table, and their words were quite curious. The door was open at this moment, and it was dark outside, only a little bit of starlight shone. These people only know that it is dark, but they don't know that the whole world is plunged into darkness at the same time. Marine with bases all over the world is extremely rare. Even Blackbeard didn't know. At this moment, he finished a big bowl of fried rice in a few mouthfuls, and then yelled at Fu Wusheng again. Give me another bowl. Hearing this, the young Fu worker glanced at the stack of empty bowls in his hand with a delicate mood. You've eaten 10 big bowls, do you really have the money to pay the bill? Zia ha ha ha. Blackbeard burst out laughing, reaching for his pocket. Who do you think I am? Talking to a guest like this. Halfway through his words, his expression suddenly froze, and then he moaned up and down his pocket. Huh, where's my money? Seeing this, Fu Shisheng was furious. This sloppy guy actually wanted to eat Bawang's meal. Immediately, he was about to call the boss, but when he opened his mouth, his pupils shrank suddenly, with a horrified look on his face. I saw behind the black beard, a group of black figures slowly rose up, gradually condensing into a figure. The figure was dark all over, with only one pair of eyes staring straight ahead. Probably aware of Fu Wusheng's expression, Blackbeard's movement stopped, suddenly turned around, and looked behind him. Vivi's expression changed, and then he whispered, "Shadow Demon." As soon as these words came out, the diners in the restaurant exclaimed in unison. Shadow Demon. That dreamy Shadow Demon. The big pirate with a reward of 500 million, the Shadow Demon who killed Tenryubito. How did it appear? A group of people got up and moved away from the bar. Chinyang stared at Blackbeard calmly and said, "You know me." Hearing this, Blackbeard Vivi narrowed his eyes. Who has never heard of your name? How could someone like you appear here? Don't pretend to be me, Marshall D. Titch. Chinyang said lightly, and after he finished speaking, he changed his words. No, Blackbeard. Blackbeard. Hearing this title, Blackbeard's face suddenly sank, and most people would call him Deaky, but he was rarely called Blackbeard. After all, Whitebeard is the fourth emperor. He is only a member of the fourth division. What is the name of Blackbeard? You're looking for me. I have nothing to do with your dreams. Blackbeard has become very alert when he can detect that the visitor is not good. Stop talking nonsense. Where is Nini Poland? Chinyong didn't bother to argue with him, so he asked directly. Hearing this, Blackbeard's eyes flashed, and he suddenly shot. His left hand drooped. Vivi was shocked. A pitch-black hook suddenly turned out, and grabbed Chinyang's chest. This action is very fast, and under a sneak attack, it is difficult for ordinary people to dodge. But Chinyang remained motionless, ignoring the attack at all. Whoosh! The black light flashed, the hook swept across, and Chinyang's lower body suddenly separated from the lower body. However, before Blackbeard could smile, his expression suddenly froze, and his eyes stared blankly at each other. Shang mouth that the shadow demon was swept away turned into repeated black smoke. These black smoke seemed to have no substance. After being scattered, they condensed again. Impossible, just used hockey, he said incredulously. At the same time as he finished speaking, the whole person jumped to the back of the bar, and kicked at the same time, kicking the entire bar towards Chinyang. Seeing this, Chinyang opened his mouth slowly and said, I'm decisive enough. As soon as I hear the name Nini Poland, I will act immediately. However, you can't leave. As soon as the voice fell, the shadow demon's body suddenly disappeared, and the next moment, he appeared in the shadow of Blackbeard. This is similar to the ability of teleportation, which immediately made Blackbeard's heart awe-inspiring. He hit back with a hook, but failed again. Chinyang raised his right hand, and while ignoring the opponent's attack, he grabbed the Blackbeard's neck. I know that a few days ago, you had contact with Nini Poland, and I can also guess what agreement you reached. Now I just want to ask you, where is the person? You are also eyeing the treasure mouse. Blackbeard stepped back again and again until he reached the gate, ready to run away at any time. If possible, he did not want to conflict with the dream. Ask again, where are the people? Chinyang said calmly. If you don't answer, I'll have to annihilate you. Zia ha ha ha. Blackbeard chuckled twice. Shadow Demon, a member of Dream, has the world's top stealth and recluse abilities, but is not good at fighting. In dreams, it is a role similar to a messenger. If it is your dominant cadre, of course I'm not an opponent yet, but how could you possibly beat me? Really, you know our members well. With a wave of Chinyang's hand, black smoke billowed, and the entire restaurant was filled with thick black smoke. Blackbeard suddenly lost the shadow demon, and even observation hockey couldn't detect it. Immediately, cold sweat dripped on his forehead. This strange ability is really a dream style. Only the voice of the shadow demon sounded, as if from all directions. A mere rat, how dare you speak out? Chinyang merged with the black smoke around him. You can only hide under Whitebeard's reputation and do some shady deeds. It's up to you, you don't need to dominate, I alone are enough. Quote. As soon as the words fell, in the surrounding black smoke, dozens of dark sharp blades condensed together, attacking Blackbeard from all directions from front, back, left and right. Wait. Seeing this, Blackbeard hurriedly said, since you are also eyeing the treasure-hunting mouse, why not cooperate with us? Nini Poland proposed the condition of saving her brother. Together, you and I can save Andy Poland from the prison boat. I'm not interested in joining forces with the rat. Chinyang dismissed it. Besides, Andy has disappeared and was rescued by the mysterious man. Your plan has failed. What did you say? Blackbeard was shocked. And while he was stunned for a moment, with a swoosh, dozens of dark blades suddenly stabbed. Chapter-201-220 This is Dragon Island. The third update, by the way, Happy Lantern Festival tilde. Whoosh. Dozens of dark sharp blades, taking advantage of Blackbeard's stunned effort, pierced from all directions. Andy Poland disappeared. Blackbeard's expression was uncertain, and the hook in his hand circled forward, blocking the dark sharp blade in front, and at the same time, his body moved to avoid the attack from the rear. Have you been rescued by you? His eyes looked around, trying to find the shadow demon's location. If I'm waiting to be rescued, do I still need to find you? Qin Yang snorted softly. Of course, it was impossible for him to save him. After all, he had an agreement with Marine to tear up the treaty at will, and make Dream lose its credibility. A mere Nini Poland is not worth it at all. You didn't save them. Blackbeard was silent for a moment, and suddenly felt that things were difficult. He made an agreement with Nini Poland to rescue Andy Poland, and the other party would help him. Now that Andy is gone, the agreement is useless. Who is it? Blackbeard thought angrily, but the anger didn't help, and he quickly calmed down. He chuckled again. Ziahaha, it seems that my luck is very bad. The plan failed, but he was in the mood to laugh. Qin Yang raised his eyebrows. Now, are you willing to say 597? Okay, then I'll tell you where Nini Poland is now. Blackbeard snorted softly and said, I did meet with her a few days ago and reached an agreement. You can guess the content of the agreement. But after that, she left, only after agreeing to save people, in meet somewhere. Hearing this, Qin Yang was noncommittal. He did not fully believe it. But it doesn't look like a lie. Yin Yao, if what you said is true and Andy was rescued, it is very likely that the little girl did not reach an agreement with me alone. Blackbeard grinned and said, cooperation with our Whitebeard pirates. Find her together. After getting the treasure mouse, I just need to find something. After I find it, the treasure mouse will be yours. When he learned that Dream was also eyeing the treasure mouse, Blackbeard could only take a step back. He didn't want to conflict with Dream. Of course, he also deliberately pulled a big flag and pulled out the Whitebeard pirates. Qin Yang could see through this kind of trick at a glance, and couldn't help sneering. This is not the same for Whitebeard to me. You are not qualified to represent the Whitebeard pirates. Hearing this, Blackbeard's smile subsided. He didn't know how he was exposed. He was hidden in the Whitebeard pirates. He has always been a little transparent and very inconspicuous. It was also the first time I met Yin Yao, but listening to the other party's words, I seemed to know him well. Just thinking about it, the shadow demon continued to say, this time, your actions are also hiding from Whitebeard. Speaking of which, your goal is to find the dark fruit, and it really is the idea of the rat, hidden in the dark, sneaky. How did you know? Blackbeard's expression changed greatly, his face full of disbelief. He came across the devil fruit sign by chance, and set the dark fruit listed on it as his goal, which has always been the goal, but has never told others. How do dreamers know? He. Qin Yang chuckled. You rebel, hidden careerist, if I tell Whitebeard, will things become very interesting? Hearing this, Blackbeard's face became more and more ugly. Reason why he hides in the Whitebeard pirates is because Whitebeard is the most powerful in the New World and is most likely to get the dark fruit. Although the impact of leaving the Whitebeard pirates was not devastating, Qin Yang's words made him feel a little uncomfortable. Ziahaha, will Papa believe you? He, that's not necessarily true. Do you want to try it? Qin Yang's eyes pondered. Since Nini has not been caught by you, then I have to find another way. However, it is not my style to run around in vain. Blackbeard, what kind of price do you think can let me help you? Keep a secret. After a pause, he said again. No, let's put it another way. How would you like to buy out this information? Disguised ceiling fee. Blackbeard is very annoyed, and he has always heard that Dream is charging people protection fees everywhere, extorting, threatening, persecuting, and doing everything to the extreme. Before that, he still admired the style of this pirate, but he didn't expect that the protection fee would be paid to him. However, this kind of anger can only be hidden. Blackbeard can endure the unbearable. Ziahaha, shadow demon, what is the purpose of collecting so many devil fruits in your dreams? The boring stuff like the Legion of Powers. No, Devil fruits, are there any ways to use them that I don't know about? No comment. Chin-Yong looked at him calmly. I advise you not to snoop, otherwise it will attract the ruling cadres. Blackbeard was silent for a moment, and then hummed, in this case, I can promise you that I am willing to exchange 10 devil fruits for dark fruits. How about this deal? You can collect devil fruits, there are no restrictions, right? 10 for 1. Chin-Yong shook his head. I'm not interested in wasting time with you. Prepare 4 devil fruits as a seal fee. I'll come to you next time. If not, he. After speaking, Chin-Yang's thought turned into black smoke. And with his departure, the black air that enveloped the restaurant gradually disappeared. Damn dream. Blackbeard was so angry that he vomited blood. Suddenly, he glanced around and said coldly, Don't blame me, I didn't want to reveal my identity, but unfortunately you heard. As he said that, he suddenly started, and the left hook swept out, taking the life of a diner. Not to mention that Blackbeard is killing people, Chin-Yong has already returned to the forest in Mysteria. Nini Polan didn't get caught by Blackbeard, and Andy Polan was rescued again. It's really troublesome. Of course, it's just trouble, Chin-Yong naturally has other ways to find someone. Only, it will take more time. Nini Polan's star points will not be too bright, it is almost impossible to find, but a master of Andy Polan's level is much easier to handle. If I find Andy first, I will find Nini naturally. By the way, you can also see who it is, who can save people without knowing it. Quote. Chin-Yang's eyes flashed and he closed his eyes immediately. The next moment, his consciousness plunged into the star map again. Among the billions of stars, there is only one, representing Andy Polan. Of course, Chin-Yong was not familiar with Andy Polan, so it was much more troublesome to find than Blackbeard. I don't believe I can't find it. It's a waste of my time. If the treasure hunter doesn't work as rumored. Thinking like this, Chin-Yong began to search seriously. This search is 3 days and 3 nights. In the past 3 days, the whole world has not seen a ray of sunshine, and all parts of the world have fallen into a big panic. Riots have continued, and this news has begun to spread around the world through newspapers. Predictions about the end of the world began to become popular. The governments of the world have suffered from this headache and involved countless energy. This is much more troublesome than the cloud of holy light that the archangel covers half of the world. In the midst of the chaos, the tired Chin-Yong finally showed a smile. I finally found it. His eyes flashed, and the next moment, he traveled through space and reached thousands of kilometers away in an instant. As soon as he opened his eyes, the giant flying dragon soaring in the sky came into view. More than one, several flying dragons are roaring. This is, Chin-Yong raised his head in surprise, Dragon Island. Chapter 0216 Remnants of the Roger Era. Above the night sky, 3 flying dragons with wings on their backs soared in the sky. These 3 flying dragons are quite large, and can reach 300 or 500 meters, and their wingspan is even more obscuring the sky and the moon. The 3 dragons are of different colors, including red, dark black, and azure blue, hovering high in the sky and fighting each other. The crimson flying dragon spit out flames and swallowed the dark flying dragon and blue dragon with a breath of dragon's breath. It's just that the 2 dragons don't seem to be afraid of flames, and the dragon's scales can withstand high temperatures. 2-on-1. Chin-Yong secretly calculated the combat power of these 3 flying dragons, and finally came to a simple conclusion: these creatures are just fierce-looking. If he wants to kill each other, in the case of sea dragons, he only needs 1 claw. Thinking of this, he slowly retracted his gaze and looked at the target person. Andy Polan. This man was leaning against a towering tree, his body was covered with bandages, and only half of his face was exposed. However, looking at his breath, it is very stable, it does not look like he is seriously injured, and with the recovery ability of the ancient species, this is not a problem. Of Andy Polan, there were 2 people sitting. One of them was naturally Nini Polan, the little girl seemed very tired. The other person, an old woman, was wearing a silver-white cloak to cover her face. Only the dry palms exposed on the cuffs could barely confirm her age. At this moment, Nini whispered, "Granny, thank you for rescuing my brother this time." "Don't worry, Nini, this is Dragon Island, even if Marine can't find it, you are safe for the time being." The old woman, known as the ghost mother-in-law, smiled gently, then looked at Andy. "Boy, you are really useless. If you didn't let Nini escape before you were caught, the old man would not have saved you." Quote. HMPH, I don't need your help. Andy snorted coldly, obviously not dealing with the old woman. "Brother," Nini smiled wryly. At this moment, a ghostly laughter sounded, and the three suddenly got up and looked at Andy's back. "Ha ha ha, do you really think it is safe to hide in such a place?" Black smoke wafted out of the shadows repeatedly, gradually condensing into a single figure. The figure was dark all over, and the whole body was constantly exuding traces of black air, which looked extremely strange. Shadow Demon. Andy's expression changed greatly. He stepped back and protected Nini behind him. "Nini, run away. I'll stop him." The voice of the woman known as the ghost mother-in-law was shocked. Dreamed Shadow Demon. "Impossible. This is the Dragon Island, there is no special way, it is impossible to find it." Dragon Island, one of the legendary islands of the New World. The recording pointer cannot be pointed, there is no magnetic field, and any route will not intersect with Long Island, and not many people even know its existence. Because of the particularity of the island, the flying dragons on the island cannot leave the Dragon Island, and it is difficult for outsiders to enter. It can be said that it is an isolated island. The ghost mother-in-law never thought that someone could catch up here so quickly. At this moment, Nini glared at Chin Young angrily, and said, "You guys are chasing after such a place." Hearing this, Chin Young ignored her and stared at the ghost mother-in-law. "You are the mysterious person who rescued Andy without knowing it. I didn't expect it to be an old woman. I thought it was an amazing character." The ghost mother-in-law's face was not very good, and she was not particularly angry at Chin Yang's ridicule, but said calmly, "I don't know where your dreams came from, in Roger's era, but I have never heard of you. These people, Listen to your tone, are you a pirate in the Roger era?" Chin Yang raised his eyebrows, not in a hurry to catch someone, and it was useless to catch Nini, she had to be willing to help. Of course, there is another last resort, which is to kill the little girl and let the toy fruit parasitize, but the success rate cannot be guaranteed. My old man stopped being a pirate 15 years ago, and Marine has also withdrawn his wanted. Ghost Granny was on guard secretly and asked at the same time, "Ying Yao, how did you enter the Dragon Island?" This is where she doubts, subverting her cognition. "There is no place in the world that I cannot go to." Chin Yang waved his hand, "Too lazy to talk to this person. Don't be so vigilant, I'm waiting for the dream to suppress the unicorn, just because of Marine's commission, and now that the commission is completed, I'm not interested in chasing you." "Then what are you doing here?" Nini said. Andy shouted angrily, "It was your dreams that destroyed our unicorn pirates, can you reveal it by saying a request?" "You guys, what can you do with me?" Chin Yang pouted, "Stop talking nonsense, I only came here to represent a dream, and the purpose naturally, it is your toy fruit ability." The last sentence, he said to Nini. "Treasure hunting mouse." Andy's expression changed, and he immediately roared, and the whole person swelled rapidly, turning into a black-haired giant ape of 30 to 50 meters. "Old woman, take Nini to run first." While yelling, he punched Chin Yang. Above this punch, armament hockey covered it, and the entire fist, like a huge extraterrestrial meteor, suddenly smashed down. "You still want to stop me?" Chin Yang's expression was as usual, and he let the giant fist fall. Boom! A punch shook the ground and made a loud bang. Under the smoke and dust, Andy's face was very ugly. He didn't feel like he had hit the entity, but he didn't understand how the shadow demon avoided it. Seeing this, the ghost granny grabbed Nini and said, "Nini, let's go first. Mother-in-law. Nini struggled and said, "It's just a dreamy shadow demon. The bounty is only 500 million, which means that he is not strong in combat." Mother-in-law, your bounty at your peak is as high as 1.3 billion. Can't you deal with him? Hearing this, the ghost granny smiled bitterly. If she was at her peak, she would naturally not be afraid, but time flies. The great pirate who was famous for a while is now just an old woman with half her feet in the coffin. At this moment, in the smoke and dust, the shadow demon's voice sounded. "Don't worry, none of you can leave. I'm here to tell you that any dream member has the ability to summon cadres from a distance." As soon as the voice fell, the change suddenly occurred. Roar. A high-pitched dragon roar sounded, and the next moment, under the smoke, a dark dragon with a length of several hundred meters rose into the air. He flew into the sky, and a pair of dragon eyes looked down at the people below, as if the ruler looked down on the world. "I am the master of the ocean, the three of you, are you going to capture it, or let Benlong slap him to death?" Above the dragon head, the shadow demon stood quietly, staring at the ghost mother-in-law flatly, and said, "Your bounty is 1.3 billion. Don't you show your hands." More than 1 billion, and as high as 1.3 billion, shows that this person was a ruthless character that Marine Admiral could not deal with, and it can be said to be close to the 4th Emperor level. But that was in the past, and now with this crippled look, it's a question of whether you can play too much flamenco. That time, Gul D. Roger became One Piece, king of pirates, but there are many silver medalists who lost to Roger, and this person must be one of them. Chinyong was very curious about how the other party rescued Andy. To be precise, he was curious about the other party's devil fruit ability. The three people below looked pale when they saw the appearance of the sea dragon. Master-level cadre. Andy's tone was bitter. The previous master of the sky could destroy the three major forces on Cake Island. The prestige of this sea dragon was even higher than that of the Archangel. Nini was even more startled, and her head was a little dazed. Only the ghost mother-in-law barely kept her composure, but her tone was still trembling. Ocean Master Sea Dragon. She took a deep breath, stretched out her dry right hand, and then her eyes narrowed. Suddenly, a huge haki swept out, and in an instant, the power of this haki shocked everything. Especially the three-headed flying dragons fighting in the sky. At this moment, all stopped fighting, and then lowered the dragon's head, showing fear and surrender. Conqueror. Chinyong raised his eyebrows and said, "It's not too unusual. The reward can exceed 1 billion. It's strange that you don't have the qualifications of a king. It's just that you are dreaming to drive the flying dragon to delay time." As soon as he finished speaking, the sea dragon under his feet uttered a dragon roar again. This dragon roar ran through the starry sky, and then a huge dragon might suddenly descended, suppressing all creatures on the island. At this moment, all the beasts and flying dragons of Long Island were all crawling on the ground, extremely frightened, as if they would die if they raised their heads. Seeing this scene, the ghost mother looked horrified. What kind of dragon power is this? Like a real oppressive force, even she felt the heavy burden on her shoulders, as if there was a mountaintop on it. Just to endure this dragon's might at close range, she felt that her blood was not smooth. Even she is like this. Those flying dragons are probably too frightened to move. Monster. The ghost gritted her teeth and said, "Where is the monster? The conqueror at the peak of Whitebeard is not comparable to this sea dragon. And this is just one of the three dream cadres. Even if she can save Nini, next, will she have to face the Archangel, or the deputy captain or even the mysterious Emperor Chin?" Chapter 0217_helpless. Granny Ghost sighed in her heart. The power of dream is too strong, even stronger than the Roger pirates at their peak. She can't compete alone. Even if she can save Nini now, she still has to face the pursuit of dreams. A master-level cadre can make her tired of dealing with it, and there are at least 5 murderers at the same level or above. But she couldn't help it. Nini was brought up by her, and the mother of the other party was kind to her. Thinking of this, Granny Ghost took a deep breath and said, "Dream Shadow Demon, Sea Dragon, your purpose is Nini's treasure hunter, right? After a pause, before waiting for Qin Yang to reply, he continued, I heard that you are constantly collecting devil fruits, and you need a treasure rat for this reason. But I'm sorry to tell you that the treasure rat's treasure hunting conditions. Let's use an analogy. Say, if there is a treasure map, the treasure rat can go through it and find the right place to bury the treasure, so you understand. Hearing this, Qin Yang was noncommittal and his expression was as usual. Seeing that he didn't speak, the ghost mother had to say, devil fruit is not good, there is no necessary condition for the treasure rat to activate its ability, it can't help you find devil fruit. Be smart. Qin Yang looked at the other party calmly and said, do you think I'll act blindly without knowing anything? Previously, he did not know, but Doflamingo knew. Treasure rat looking for a specific target, indeed, as the hag said, needs the necessary medium. Example, Kaido asked Nini to find the red stone, and she took out her own red stone rubbing. But the treasure mouse also has a second function, which is to find non-specific targets. Even if they are far apart, it can smell the smell emitted by treasures. Although the efficiency is not necessarily high, it is also a source of fruit. Moreover, the sea beast legion is less efficient at salvaging devil fruits at the bottom of the sea. With the treasure rat, if the two are added together, then the progress will be very fast. After hearing Qin Yang's words, the ghost's face suddenly turned ugly, and she sighed inwardly, it seems that I can't fool me, so I can only run. Thinking of this, she flipped her right hand, and suddenly two pieces of paper popped out from under her sleeve. Qin Yang's sharp eyes found that the paper people were a man and a woman, one big and one small, quite vivid, obviously representing Andy and Nini. Boy, Nini, prepare to escape. Move. The ghost mother-in-law shouted, and the next moment, the bodies of the three began to twist, as if ripples appeared in the space, and then the light flashed, and the three disappeared out of thin air. Huh. Qin Yang stood above the dragon head and looked down in surprise. The three disappeared from under the eyes, and the breath appeared in another part of Long Island in a short moment. It really is the ability of the space system. Qin Yang chuckled. Unlike door fruit opens a dimensional door, enters a different space, and then opens a door from another place, so as to carry out transfer. This ability is more convenient and faster, no wonder it can save people without knowing it. The previous ability to activate the ghost mother-in-law did not make physical contact with Andy and Nini, which is the convenient place. General Paramesha, most of them need physical contact to activate their abilities and influence others. Come to think of it, those two paper figures replaced the condition of physical contact. No, not necessarily, maybe the awakened Paramesha. There is also a room space similar to the fruit of surgery, which does not require physical contact and can do similar things. Qin Yang carefully analyzed the opponent's ability, and then Isho, with a thought, went straight through the space and chased after him in an instant. At the same time, another aspect of Long Island, near the coast. The space fluctuated for a while, and the three ghost mothers appeared out of thin air. Cough cough. As soon as it appeared, the ghost mother coughed a few times, and her face looked a little pale. Granny. Annie was startled. Mother-in-law is fine. The ghost mother-in-law said hurriedly. Nini, hurry up, there is a special boat here that can pass through the strange sea outside Long Island. Hurry up, don't leave. However, before her words were finished, black smoke drifted out repeatedly and quickly turned into a dark figure. Seeing this scene, the three of them were shocked. Ghost mother-in-law was even more disbelieving, and she said, how is it possible? We moved tens of thousands of meters in an instant. Shadow Demon, how did you catch up? 10,000 meters in an instant. He. Qin Yang let out a chuckle, with a mere 10,000 meters, I can travel from one end of the planet to the other in an instant. You are locked by me and cannot escape. Hearing this, Granny Ghost suddenly remembered that some time ago, there were reports of shadow demons appearing in many places in the New World. These reports were issued almost on the same day, and each place was so far apart that it was impossible for one day back and forth, back and forth. I thought it was a fake joke, but when I heard the other party say that, I couldn't help but feel shocked. Why is there such a monster in the world? What kind of power are you? Ghost Mother lost her voice. Could it be that the devil fruit is above the second stage of awakening, and there is a third stage? Otherwise, it is difficult to explain what kind of fruit ability can be achieved in an instant, crossing the other side of the planet. Hearing this, Qin Yang looked indifferent, and when he waved, a long shadow spread under his feet. The shadow turned into a sharp blade, sticking to the ground, without a body, and quickly arrived in front of the hag. Shadow blade. In the whisper, this strange sharp blade shadow suddenly rose from two-dimensional to three-dimensional, and the materialized shadow blade stabbed straight into the ghost's chest. And at the moment when the scar was about to be born, the ghost mother-in-law narrowed her eyes and whispered, "Transfer." Puff. With a light sound, the blade of shadow pierced through Granny's abdomen in an instant. Old woman. Andy's expression changed, and he wanted to make a move, but it was too late. Suddenly, the ghost grandmother raised her withered right hand and said in a low voice, "I'm fine." Cough. Huh. Qin Yang was surprised again. It's okay to be stabbed by my shadow blade. It turns out that your ability is not only space transfer, but even wounds. No, you can even transfer the opponent's attack. Huo ran. He looked at a stone not far away, and saw a cut inexplicably on the stone. It's what Shadow Blade did. Hearing this, the hag said in a tired tone, "You didn't even want to kill me with that blow just now, or you would have aimed at the heart. Is it because you need Nini's treasure hunting mouse, so you don't want to kill me? Isn't this nonsense?" 4.3. Qin Yang slandered in his heart, before he took the next step, if he killed the ghost mother-in-law who had a good relationship with Nini at first glance, would the other party still help him? Haha, I said earlier, I didn't have any malicious intentions, but you had to run. If you really want to kill you, it's useless for you to escape to the moon. The old god Qin Yang is here. Hearing this, the ghost grandmother couldn't help showing a wry smile and said, "I admit defeat, the dreamer is indeed a miraculous person. In front of your ability, I can't even escape with Nini." Saying that, she took a deep breath and said heavily, "Let's talk about it." When she said this, she was helpless in her heart. She couldn't beat her, she couldn't escape, angered the other party, and even got killed. It didn't matter if she died, but Nini couldn't. With such a force existing, the world government's feelings are probably similar to hers at the moment. No way. Chapter 0218_9th change. The third update. I haven't asked for an automatic for a long time. Please ask for a few automatics, you big guys. ORZ. After the space was shifted and she couldn't escape the pursuit of the shadow demon, the ghost mother resolutely chose to admit defeat. This is a helpless move, but it is better than forcing the opponent to kill. People are under the eaves and have to bow their heads. Nini. Thinking of this, the hag looked at Nini and sighed. "Mother-in-law is useless, she can't protect you." Ghost mother-in-law. Nini looked at each other worriedly. The ability of the ghost mother-in-law has side effects. In fact, she is only about 50 years old, but it seems that she is already in her 70s and 80s. This is the side effect of the fruit, and she consumes a lot of life when she is young. In recent days, the space transfer has been used many times, which can be described as worse. Seeing this, Qin Yang couldn't help but open his mouth and said, "I don't want you to die, like a life and death parting." Said, "With the shelter of my dream, she is a little safer. After all, if the able person dies, the treasure hunter will also be gone." Quote. This, Andy snorted angrily and said, "How do you think our unicorn pirates have finished 15 eggs?" In this regard, Qin Yang was too lazy to answer. Without a dream shot, Marine naturally has other means to deal with these rioting pirates. The contrary, the ghost mother-in-law nodded her head very wisely and said, "Ying Yao, you just want to hunt for treasure mice. The treasure mice can be given to you, but Nini can't give them to you." That won't work. As a capable person, she must be under my surveillance. Qinyang resolutely vetoed. Of course, we have no intention of restricting freedom, but just let her live in another place. Too much deceiving. Andy was furious, to put his sister under house arrest. Qinyang didn't want to talk to this mindless person, so he just ignored him. The ghost mother-in-law changed her face and looked at Nini, as if asking for her own opinion. Seeing this, Nini gritted her teeth and said resolutely, "As long as you don't hurt your brother and the ghost mother-in-law, I'll go with you." "No problem," Qinyang said generously. "I have always paid attention to credibility when waiting for a dream." "I still believe this," Nini whispered. "For a mysterious organization like yours, there are no rumors of dishonesty yet." Saying that, she stretched out her left hand, and above her wrist, there was a bracelet, and a small toy mouse was hanging under the bracelet. Nini Poland stretched out her hand, and the toy mouse suddenly swelled, becoming the size of a slap in the blink of an eye, making a creaking sound. The little mouse is all white, wearing a vest with the word, "treasure," written on it. "Mice." Nini touched it and put it on the ground. The little mouse immediately sniffed and walked slowly to Qinyang's heels. Qinyang looked down and saw that the white rat opened his mouth and devoured the black smoke he emitted. However, the black smoke was formless and ethereal, and could not be bitten at all. "How to use this?" Qinyang asked. "Recognition failed. Please reprocess the image, or change to a better image resource." Chapter 0219 The ninth change. Fear the devil. First update. Those 2333s who said they want blue dye and a big bald head, I will talk about it next time. I have to design the necessary plot in advance for each transformation. If you let me go out immediately, that is impossible. Oh, hollow square. Oh. If you want to absorb the power of the mysterious lake and open the ninth transformation, you must first separate the three ghosts and mothers. Qinyang does not want to expose this secret. As for how to pay, that's fine. After thinking about it, Qinyang suddenly turned around, looked at the ghost and the others, and said, "Treasure hunting mice are indeed something that has been peeped by countless people. This time the harvest is good." "What did you find?" the hag asked again. Andy is very unhappy. Before, Dream killed their unicorn pirates, and now he is forcibly borrowing Nini's ability to make a profit. However, this kind of discomfort can only be thought about. "I don't know either. This matter needs to be reported to the top," Qinyang said seriously. "I'm afraid it will disturb the deputy captain and even the captain." Hearing this, the three of them suddenly shuddered, and the terrifying existence above the ruling cadres is about to appear. "Report, report." Granny Ghost opened her mouth and wanted to ask something else. But Qinyang no longer paid attention to her, but closed his eyes and pretended for a while. After a while, a strong black energy radiated from his body. The black energy lingered around, and gradually flew away from the body, forming a gate shape in front of him. The center of the gate seems to be a vortex of the universe, revolving around, and a figure gradually emerges. Dream members such as me, in addition to summoning cadres from a distance, can also communicate with one another, ignoring the distance in space. Just now, I have reported the task to the captain, and he is coming from tearing space. Qinyang said seriously. "Captain. Tear space. Qin Emperor." The three exclaimed in unison. Nini's eyes widened and she stared blankly at the dark door. "I saw the center of the gate, the center of the whirlpool. One foot stepped out first, and then a figure emerged. The figure was dressed in snow-white clothes and was in his early 20s, but he had a handsome appearance, but his face was unsmiling, and his whole body exuded an ethereal aura. He seemed to be standing there, but also as if he didn't exist. "Impossible," the hag exclaimed in a low voice. "My observation hockey can't even notice it." She closed her eyes, and observation hockey shrouded toward where the white-robed man was, but couldn't hear it. There was no sound, no muscular breathing, no heartbeat rhythm. He seemed to be not in the same dimension as them, just like people in a two-dimensional world who couldn't see the existence of a three-dimensional world. The ghost mother-in-law was horrified. Even if the advanced stage of observation hockey is reclusive, it is impossible to completely erase the breath at such a close distance. It is impossible. As long as it is life, there must be breath, but it can suppress the breath to a very low level. It is like a tree and a stubborn rock on the side of the road. But the man in white in front of him is not. He has no breath. Like a dream, it seems to exist, and it seems that it does not exist. If it is not visible to the naked eye, no one can find it. Lord Qin Emperor, the shadow demon shouted respectfully. Emperor Qin. The three of them were stiff and stared at each other. This is the legendary dream captain, Emperor Qin. Rumor has it that he killed the Big Mom pirates overnight. There are countless masters under his command, and each of the three major cadres is at the level of the fourth emperor. How terrifying is Emperor Qin, who can make this group of murderers willing to serve their lives? The ghost mother-in-law doesn't know, she only understands that the person in front of her is unfathomable, and she can't even detect observation hockey. You did well this time. Qin Yang played two roles by himself. At this moment, the main body spoke. First, he praised calmly, then ignored the other two, looked at Nini and said, "Little girl, you don't have to worry, dreaming has its own rules, I promise you. They will not breach the contract." Quote. Yes, yes. Nini nodded absent-mindedly. Emperor Qin spoke very calmly, neither arrogant nor intoxicating. Just listening to her ears made Nini subconsciously convinced, as if it was the truth and the other party would never lie. Of course, most of this is psychological, and another reason is that Qin Yang used the power of the holy light. Shadow demon, I will handle the matter here myself, you can take them away. As for Nini, put her in Doflamingo's place temporarily. Understood. The shadow demon nodded, then walked to the sluggish three people and said, "Let's go, I'll take you away." The three did not dare to have any objections. When I saw Heilong before, I was already shocked enough. When I saw the mysterious Qin Emperor this time, I had completely lost the heart to resist. Even Andy Poland felt an inexplicable fear in his heart now. This Qin Emperor gave him a very strange feeling. He came from tearing apart the space. If it was not visible to the naked eye, he would not be able to detect the slightest breath. He just wants to stay away from this threatening figure. And after a few people left, Qin Yang approached the lake unhurriedly. Without hesitation, he stepped directly into it. His feet were first soaked in the lake water, and at the same time, the absorption of fantasy genes was turned on. The mysterious power from the lake is being swallowed and absorbed by his cells at an incredible speed. This mysterious power is completely different from the past, and it seems to be even more special. After a while, the lake surface sank a little to the naked eye, and Qin Yang, who was immersed in the small lake, gradually began to have special cracks on the surface of his skin. This crack started to spread from the chest and gradually spread to all parts of the body. At the same time, a tingling sensation came from the top of Qin Yang's head, and the next moment, a pair of curved horns spiraling upward suddenly appeared. This transformation. Qin Yang raised his hand subconsciously and touched the thing growing on the top of his head. This pair of corners is a bit similar to Kaido's pair, but it is different. This is a spiral upward. Devil's horn. This time it's a demon. Qin Yang thought strangely, but information about the new transformation gradually emerged in his mind. The ninth change, the great demon king of fear. There was only one name and no other information, because in the next second, the transformation was interrupted. With a puff, Qin Yang's body scattered into a mass of black mist, which directly dyed the entire lake black. Of course, this didn't scare Qin Yang at all. The previous archangel, his body was directly decomposed, and he was fine. However, unlike the last time, this transformation seems to be missing something. This is not an ordinary demon, it is a demon king. Dispersing into a cloud of black mist, Qin Yang was still conscious. This black fog is extremely evil, full of negative emotions such as desire, tyranny, and killing intent. But only one is missing. Fear. Qin Yang was stunned for a moment, and soon came to his senses. The great demon king of fear requires human fear to complete the transformation. Without fear, the transformation will stagnate. Fear, as long as it is human, more or less has this emotion. But this kind of fear has nothing to do with the great demon lord of fear. Humans don't know the great demon lord of fear at all. The last time angels were able to mobilize the power of holy light in the whole world was because the world itself had myths about angels, even God. But the great demon king of fear, no, there are legends of demons. After all, there are devil fruits. No, I have to let human beings know that there is such a demon king. Qin Yang thought about it, and immediately came up with an idea. All I can do now seems to be dreaming. Entering a dream, intruding into other people's dreams, and then announcing the existence of the great demon king of fear, arousing the fear of others. Just thinking about it, Qin Yang suddenly moved in his heart. Wait, entering the dream, since this transformation can do such a thing, can it invade the dream world? He had been unable to do anything before, but now he seems to have a countermeasure. However, after this matter, the transformation of the great fear demon king must be completed first. The next moment, the black mist rolled, as if boiling up, completely swallowing the entire lake. At the same time, all over the world, people who are sleeping at this moment, in their sweet dreams, there is an intruder. A burly man with 2 horns, half naked, and hardcover. Chapter-201 You Can Only Dream. Second update. A big guy in the book review said that I used to update 7 or 8. I don't seem to have updated 7 or 8. I even only posted 4 when it broke out on the shelves. I also want the speed of writing 7 or 8. Left pointing arrow, but I am stable. You see which day I have less than 3 updates. This is what it looks like when the transformation is complete. In a wonderful dream, Qin Yang easily invaded here, and his appearance has completely changed into the great demon king of fear. This incarnation is 2.30 meters tall, the upper body is naked, the strong muscles are exposed to the air without any cover, and there are unique mysterious patterns on his right arm. On the top of his head, there is a pair of spiral demon horns. If the pair of long horns are put aside, the appearance of the great demon king is similar to that of a human being. What a strong physique! Qin Yang was familiar with the new transformation and couldn't help but be surprised. This demon king's body can almost be reborn from a drop of blood, that is to say, as long as the enemy can't kill him all at once, as long as there is still a drop of blood, he can be resurrected. Of course, this is not the star ability of this transformation, this is just a passive skill, which is probably similar to a mild cold in humans, and the body's immune system will automatically repair it. As for what star skills are, specifically how many stars, I don't know. No one can be sure if the transformation is not completely completed. The only thing that can be determined is probably Dreamland Invasion, referred to as Dream. Qin Yang can only obtain information. So much. It's more important to create fear first. After absorbing enough fear, the transformation of the real world can be fully opened. Thinking so, Qin Yang began to look at this dream. At a glance, he couldn't help but be a little stunned. Because of this dream scene, he is quite familiar with it. This is Marineford, the headquarters of the Marine 433 Army. Who is the dream of the Marine headquarters? Who is the owner of the dream? Qin Yang raised his eyebrows and walked slowly towards the main square. Hundreds of thousands of Marine soldiers gathered, they lined up with solemn expressions. In front, there are dozens of vice admiral, and at the top, there are 3 admiral, and the most dazzling is an execution platform. On the execution platform, all criminals knelt in front of countless Marines, as if waiting for the fate of death. There were not many prisoners, only 10 people. But Qin Yang is also very familiar with these 10 people. It is impossible not to be unfamiliar, because they are all themselves, they are dreams. Captain, Emperor Qin. The vice captain, a vague person who doesn't know who he is, can't see his face clearly, it seems that the dream can't be truly manifested. One of the three masters, the sea dragon, is just the sea dragon on the execution platform, only 2 meters tall, chained by several iron chains, roaring frantically, looking extremely weak. The other 2 masters are the archangel and the same character who does not know his face. There are others, shadow demons, Ibaraki Doji, 9-tailed foxes, night kings, and the Lich King. The criminals are all characters that Qin is familiar with and can no longer be familiar with. Whose dream is it to publicly execute the dream? Qin looked weird. In other people's dreams, seeing that he was about to be killed, it was strange that he didn't feel subtle. Although, other people's dreams do not cause any substantial harm to him. But as the old saying goes, there is a dream in the day and a dream in the night. It is estimated that the owner of the dream here also longs deep in his heart that one day he can completely destroy the dream and carry out a public execution. Just as he was thinking about it, on the execution platform, a man with Buddha light shining all over his body walked up slowly. 1 foot. That man is Martial Marine, Sengoku the Buddha. The dream, Sengoku looked extremely majestic. Between walking, there was a Buddha's light shining, and even behind him there was a big Buddha emitting golden light. Sengoku walked to the front of the execution platform and stared coldly at the Fantasy 10. After a while, he snorted coldly, and then he faced the hundreds of thousands of Marines and spoke aloud. 22 years ago, One Piece King of Pirates Roger was publicly executed in his hometown of Logatown. 22 years ago. Qin was startled. It was the end of 1510 of the Sea Circle calendar, and it was about to enter 1511, the 12th year after Roger was executed. In this way, that is to say, the time point of this dream is 10 years later in the real world. Can dream 10 years from now. Qin slandered and hid, and continued to listen to what Sengoku would say. We thought that the public execution of the most evil people in the world would make all the evil parties fearful and dare not blaspheme justice again, and the world will be at peace from now on. But things backfired. Roger's remarks before his death started the Great Pirate Times. Sengoku took a deep breath and looked extremely tragic. In the early days of the Great Pirate era, countless strong men flooded into the Great Route and became vicious and brutal pirates. The world has since ushered in an era of evil suppressing justice. In this dark era, we Marine fought hard, tens of thousands of warriors fell, and in blood and hatred, after years of great war, the world finally established a new order and entered an era of relative peace. Quote, that is the birth of the 4 emperors. Among the countless pirates, the 4 major forces that stood out suppressed the new world. But this peace is just a false peace. Speaking of which, Sengoku's aura grew even higher. He said solemnly, but we Marine never gave up, all evil will disappear from the world. Sea Circle calendar in 1510, the 4 emperors Big Mom pirates, under the cooperation between us and the mysterious force of dreams, collapsed and disappeared overnight. Sea Circle calendar in 1512, the Marine headquarters and the 4 emperors Kaido pirates collided. After 10 days and 10 nights of battle, we destroyed the Kaido pirates at the cost of blood. Sea Circle calendar in 1514, the 4 emperors red-haired pirates fought with us in a sea battle on a scale of 100,000 in the Tegelgo waters. After the First World War, we suffered countless casualties and hundreds of warships were almost completely destroyed, but we were still destroyed in the end. The Red Hair Pirates. Sea Circle calendar in 1516, Whitebeard, known as the strongest man, became weak. We Marine paid a hard price, even sacrificing the lives of 100,000 young sailors, and finally let the last 4 emperor pirates disappear in this peace. Above the sea. 6 years, the 4 major forces were destroyed one by one. Marine will defeat the righteous Yang Fan and defeat the evil one by one. Hearing this, Qin Yang's eyes twitched, and he was speechless for a while. He clearly killed the Big Mom pirates. What's the matter with Marine? Even dreaming cannot modify the reality that has already happened. Just listen to Sengoku continue. This time, his voice is even louder. Yes, the 4 emperors have disappeared, but peace has not come. In this world, there is still the biggest, worst, and strongest mysterious force, and that is the dream pirates. They are unscrupulous and cruel. They first appeared in C Circle Calendar 1510. This mysterious force has been lurking for countless hours, just to seize the world's hegemony and let the whole world fall under their domination. Sengoku spoke. The more his emotions rose, the war is not over. 4 years, more than 1,000 days and nights of fierce battle, all the members of the fantasy pirates have finally been arrested by our marine. And now, here holy day, we'll be broadcasting the public executions of the dream pirates live to the world. With a loud roar, the hundreds of thousands of marines below immediately responded. The voice was so loud that it seemed to pierce through the sky. Public execution. Public execution. Public execution. The sound waves converged to form a shocking force. It's noon. Public execution. Sengoku looked solemn. He raised his right arm and shouted, "Justice will prevail. Justice must prevail." This is another sacred word, and hundreds of thousands of officers are united to defeat all evil. Qinyang frowned and said secretly, "It's too perfunctory, how to fight the war, let alone, our dream is stronger than the other 4 forces combined, so we fooled it." Sengoku was probably dreaming, but he hadn't figured out how to describe this kind of victory. However, just to complain, Qinyang didn't care about it. He didn't forget his purpose. This is probably Sengoku's dream, and he needs the fear of the owner of the dream, so naturally he wants to destroy this dream. Thinking of this, Qinyang jumped up and jumped into the sky amid the victory declaration of, "Justice will win." He stood in the sky like that, attracting countless gazes all at once. "Ha ha ha, Sengoku, if you want to destroy my dreams, you will have a sweet dream." Qinyang laughed wildly. "Who are you?" Sengoku's face changed drastically. "HMPH, do you think there are only 10 people waiting for my dream?" Qinyang folded his arms and looked at each other with contempt. "I am the great demon king of fear, the master of the abyss of dreams. Mere human beings, fear as much as you like." Abyss master. Another dominance class. Impossible. Countless people exclaimed. Sengoku couldn't believe it. Isn't there only 3 master classes? In this regard, Qinyang grinned Isho and opened his mouth jokingly. There are 5 of the 4 heavenly kings, that's common sense.